Are you looking for Christmas inspiration? I have over 60 DIY Christmas crafts for you today. Very large baubles at Dollar Tree in gold, silver, and red. And I thought, oh my gosh, I have an idea. And then I've got these 3 crates also and some antique wax paint. So first of all, we're going to go ahead and stain all 3 of the crates, which I did off camera. Then we're going to take fix-all adhesive and hot glue and attach them together side by side, or end to end, I should say. Now, if you wanted to, you could paint these a color. I just decided that the contrast between the stain and the bright colors of the ornaments would really look nice. I'm going to take a little spatula and just pry off the top of each ornament. And then I'm going to hot glue around that opening and turn that little top upside down. And now we've created a candle holder, and it fit perfect for the taper candles that the Dollar Tree had. I'm going to use a combination of the fix-all adhesive and hot glue, and I'm going to attach each one of these baubles to the center of each of these little boxes. And actually, with the combination of the glues, it holds really, really well. And now what we have is a beautiful candelabra centerpiece. I'm going to take some greenery that's, Christmassy, wintry, and these particular evergreen picks I got on Amazon. I really like them because it's such a good deal and they're really good quality. You can always find these links in my Amazon store. There's a link in my description box if it's something you're interested in. And I'm just going to add them kind of like a swag going in opposite directions towards the middle. Then I've got this piece that came off of another ornament that I didn't use this part of it, and I'm just going to add that right to the center there, and it was just the perfect piece to cover up where they met, and it added just that extra little touch. I've also got these really pretty gold berries that were part of a Dollar Tree pick, and I'm just going to put a little bunch of them on either side of the center there, just to add, again, a little more flair, color, just for fun. I recently found these really pretty silvery picks at the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to pull off some little pieces and add those. That way we now have red, gold, and silver in that little center area as well, which ties all the colors together on this particular piece. And I'm really loving it. And of course, you can pick any color baubles you want, decorate it any way you want. This was just what my vision was, and it's meant entirely for inspiration. Now I'm going to turn it to the back side, and I'm going to add some more of those greenery picks because I want this to be pretty on both sides. I'm imagining if this was a centerpiece on a table, you would be looking at it from both sides. I also have these little pine picks that I got from Amazon, and they're smaller and they're great for little fillers. So I'm going to fill these around the empty spaces and on the 2 ends just to kind of complete the look. And I feel like this just added so much to it. It's so pretty and festive. Another cute thing would be to add little baubles all around them too, just for a little more glam, I guess. Now I'm going to hot glue the base of the candles in there. I want to make sure they stay and they don't fall over. It was a tight fit, but I want to make sure they stayed really nicely. Anyway, that's it for this one. I think it turned out stunning. It looks like such a high-end piece, and it was so easy to make. Let me know what you think. I got these little skate ornaments. Aren't they adorable? Oh my gosh. And then I have a floating shelf from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to take this metallic silver paint and some white paint. And those little blades were just plastic, kind of brown color. So I painted them white first because that way the silver going over it will be brighter. And so we did that on both sides, let it dry. And now we're going to go in with that silver over the top. And it's really going to look more like little skate blades. And I just thought that was worth the extra effort to do that because it's so cute. But I don't know, that brown plastic just wasn't doing it for me. You don't have to do that though if you don't feel like it. Now I'm going to take some greenery. These are from Amazon. I love these just because they're really nice and substantial and they're easy to work with. And I usually cut off that, kind of metal stem on the end. And I'm just going to create a swag on them. So put 2 pieces opposite directions overlapping each other, kind of tuck that in underneath there. And then I'll add a couple more pieces on there, just kind of going towards the back to give it a little bit more fullness. And this is going to look like a little shelf or a baby mantle is kind of how I'm viewing it. So I've got this piece that was left over from another ornament. I'm going to save it and we'll use that. In the meantime, I'm going to take the two little twine hangers that are on those skates and I'm going to hang them from this little mantle with some hot glue. And I feel like it looks like, you know, when you hang your skates up, I just think that would look really cute. So then I'm going to take that piece that I saved from the other ornament in another project that I did. I'm going to put that right over the top of those little twine hangers and cover it up and also create a little pretty moment there for the parts where the greenery comes together. And I just thought that looked really, really pretty. This is an incredibly easy project. You're only gluing other than painting those blades. And then I'm going to take 3 larger red berries and just place them on that little piece I added for a pop of color. And that is all I did to this. Just remember, it's a hanging shelf, so it floats. You can hang it on the wall very easily. And now you've created this cute little piece with the skates hanging on it. And I honestly think this turned out adorable. I really love it. I've always liked the little skates, but I didn't want the big ones. But this is perfect. What do you think? I found these gorgeous glittery snowflake ornaments at the Dollar Tree, and they had them in silver, white, and blue, and I got 3 of each color. And what we're going to do is create a gorgeous like winter wreath, or this would be so pretty for people who celebrate Hanukkah because it's got the blue and the white and the silver. I'm going to take this microfiber cloth from the Dollar Tree, and I didn't have enough to do strips and like wrap it around. So I thought, how can I make this go further? And I couldn't find any new ones at the Dollar Tree the other day when I was there. So I just cut little strips that I could lay on top and wrap around. And that way I could actually cover the whole thing with what I had left. So I'm glad I chose that way. I would have run out otherwise. And I'm just going to hot glue it to the curvy part of the wreath, so the front of the wreath form. And that wreath form is, I believe, the 16-inch from Dollar Tree. It's the largest one they have. And unless it's 14, honestly, I'm sorry. I took the tag off and I forgot to look. So I'm just going to start gluing the pieces over the top. I'm going to overlap them so that when I wrap it around, it covers all of the metal pieces from the front. So now I'm just going to go to each of the ends and make sure they are also attached. You could always use fabric glue for this, but with hot glue, it glues right away, and I wanted to keep moving. Now I'm going to turn it over and I'm just going to carefully hot glue the centers of each one down just as a starting point, and then I'll go to the ends. And I'll do that on the inside and the outside of the rings just to get these pieces to lay down, and then I'll pull it tighter when I do those corner pieces and make sure it's covering the metal because I can stretch it a little bit. And I'm just going to go around and do this over the whole thing until it's nice and tight and covered. And when we turn it back over, the whole entire wreath form is going to be filled up with this, and it looks great. It also shows less seams than when you wrap it around. So I guess that was a plus, and there it is. That's what it looks like on the back. I'm going to take a piece of a mop head. So I'm just going to hot glue it on the back and add a little masking tape over that, and that will become our hanger. And I picked white because I thought it would blend a little bit better. Twine would also work for this just fine. I decided to add a second piece of tape just above it to give it even more stability. I hope if you're enjoying this video, you will hit the like button. And if you're not already subscribed, I would invite you to subscribe and join all of the besties here on YouTube that watch my videos. Also, if you did enjoy it and you have a friend who would like it as well, please feel free to share it with them. Thank you so much. Now I'm just going to remove all of the tags and the little strings, and then there's a little piece at the end of the snowflake that has a hole for hanging the ornament, and I just clip that off with my nippers. I'm going to take some white zip ties, go through the back and pull it around, and then I'm going to place this on the front of the wreath and then pull the zip ties around. I won't pull them tight until I know I've got it positioned just right. Now we're going to alternate the colors. You know, there's 3 colors, so we'll just kind of alternate them around and space them accordingly. That's why I didn't tighten it. Instead, I tightened the first one to give it the first position, and then the other ones I tighten after I get them positioned and I can slide them around still. So you just tighten it and then you can cut off the end. And so now we're going to go ahead and position all of the rest of them, cut off the little hangers, and then just go ahead and use the zip ties to connect them all the way around. You could use pipe cleaners too. I just think zip ties really hold it in place very firmly. Look at that, they look so beautiful. And now we'll go ahead and tighten them and cut off all the ends of the zip ties. Very easy to do. I've got these beautiful sparkly pieces of greenery that I just found them at the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to put them under each side of every one of the snowflakes, and then I'll go back and do another one just to fill in kind of a center part. I just think adding that sparkly greenery just really gives this a nice dimension, another little color, but not too green, and it just pops. And you guys, I have to tell you, I love this. I think it's beautiful, very elegant wreath. Let me know what you think and if this is something you'd like to try. I love this one. You've got a little snowman ornament and two little snowy wreath ornaments, and they've got these cute little embellishments on them. I do take those off and use them in other projects. So we're going to go ahead and cut off the tags, and then it's really hard to get those off, by the way. You can heat it up with the heat tool. You can use nippers, whatever it is, get in there and cut it off. That's what the cutting actually helped the most. Otherwise, it unravels the little wreath, and then there's like styrofoam on the inside, and you have to glue it back together. So that happened to me with the first one, and I learned by the second one that it was actually better to just cut it off. You see how I got a little wonky there? It's okay. We won't see that once this is completed, and we will save these pieces for other projects. So here are my two little wreaths, and I'm going to hot glue them together, and see how I covered up that one that was a little deformed. I'm going to put the glue on it, set the other little wreath on top just slightly back, and that covers that up so it actually wasn't a problem. Then I'm going to add hot glue all over the top, and I'm going to put the snowman right on the top. So the idea here is a melting snowman, which I think is so cute. I've got this little wooden box from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to go ahead and use antique wax and stain it, and that will be our base for this one. Now, I forgot to film me writing this with a white chalk marker, but I just wrote melting for you, and you could do stickers, Cricut, whatever you want. I just wrote it because it was so small. And then I'm going to hot glue the snowman right on top. Isn't that cute? And it just looks like a little snowman is melting, but then kind of makes it more special by saying melting for you. And I just thought this was so cute. I've seen lots of melting snowmen, and I haven't done one. And I thought, oh, this would work. This would work so cute when I saw those ornaments. I'm going to take some more of these greenery picks that are glittery from the Dollar Tree. They're just so perfect for the holidays. And I'm just going to embellish around the two sides of the snowman. And then I'm going to take some red berries. I'm going to put 3 on each side just to add a little pop of color and brighten this up. And I thought this was just the perfect finishing touch to this piece. You could embellish this any way you want, or not at all if you prefer not to. I just love adding little things to my projects, and there's nothing wrong if you decide that you don't want to do that. I mean, everybody has their own personal taste, and that's okay. So here we go with the little berries. I got those on Amazon. They came in the weirdest way with like wire and then a berry on each end, which is so bizarre. So I just am cutting them off and using them. And this turned out adorable. I absolutely love it. It might be my favorite today just because it's so cute. Let me know what you think. Beautiful gold shiny gift bag, and I'm actually going to use both. They come 2 for $1.25 at the Dollar Tree, and then I've got this cute little letters to Santa mailbox that I got at the Target Dollar Spot a couple years ago. Just been waiting to use it. And then I've also got this cute little sign with a beaded hanger from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to cut off the edges of the gift bag, or mostly the bottom, just to create more of a flat surface to work with, because we're going to use these gift bags to cover parts of the little mailbox and the front, well, I should say the face of the picture, just to kind of glam up this little mailbox. And I thought this would be so cute. So let's say you have grandkids, or you're an aunt, or even if you're a parent, it doesn't matter, to have a fun little fancy mailbox. So we're going to trace those two sides, and then we're going to also take off the little hanger for right now because we don't want it to be in the way while we're working with this. We're going to save it though. And then I'm going to get rid of those staples. I do have that heavy duty staple remover that I love to use. And if you don't have one and you're interested, it's in my Amazon store down in the description box below. I'm going to take out that centerpiece. I'm also going to trace that because these are the pieces that we're going to need. So now I'm just going to cut them out. So I'm going to use a glue stick. You can use any kind of glue you want. I just thought this would be super easy to do with a glue stick. And I'm just going to place that piece that I cut out right over the top of that. And I'm going to use my brayer to smooth it out. And then I'll trim off any edges. You could use scissors. You could use sandpaper, whatever you like. Now I'm just going to put it back in there and assemble the little frame again. That's actually going to be our base for this mailbox. So I'm going to use the glue stick again, and on both sides of the mailbox, I'm going to attach the piece that I cut out. And of course, I will end up trimming those edges when I'm done because I try to cut a little bigger. I'd rather have a little too much than not enough, if you know what I mean. So now this one has an indentation, so then we have to kind of trim that before we put it in. And just do the best you can. If a little bit hangs over the sides, you know what, you won't even notice it. So there we go with the glue, and then I will attach that piece. And I just thought this just really dresses this little mailbox up. And plus the gold and red is so festive, and I really, really like it. Now I'm going to cut out 2 little pieces to put on the flag on the mailbox, one on each side. I'll just kind of press that on there and use my fingernail to get the indentation of the shape. And then I will cut them both out, and I'm going to attach those as well with the glue. I decided to leave the sides of the mailbox because it says letter to Santa, and I think it's really cute. So there's no reason to change that. At least I didn't think so. You certainly can if you want. But I thought just using this more as an accent just made it really fun. And then here I am just trimming off some of that excess that was on the side. I've got a candlestick from the Dollar Tree. I love these. They're so versatile. And I'm going to use it as a stand for the mailbox. I did remove that sticker with my heat tool. Now I'm going to use E6000 and hot glue to attach the candlestick onto that base, which was the picture frame. Try to center it the best I can. I struggle with that. I don't know about you guys, but centering is not my specialty. Now we're going to put some more of the E6000 and hot glue on the top there, and we will also try to center the mailbox right on top. I'm going to add some greenery picks. These are ones that I got from Amazon, but you most certainly can find them at Dollar Tree or any of the craft stores. I just find the price is so good when you buy them kind of in bulk. So anyway, that's just what I do. And then I've got some berries left over from some picks I've had, and I'm just going to put those pieces in between where the picks are that I've used. Now I thought it still needed one more thing, so I am going to grab some gold berries because I thought, you know what, that just goes perfectly with this, and I'll do that on the opposing sides where I did not put the red berries, and I feel like this just added such a nice touch to this. So pretty, so festive. I love the glam aspect of it. Even though I'm not a glam girl, I still like this one. So let me know what you think, and is this something you would like to try? This gorgeous gift bag with Santa and the train, and what a beautiful picture this would make. So I've also got these stretch canvases. I found them in the Dollar Tree Plus section, $5 for 2 of them, and they're 16 by 20 inches, which is a really nice size. It's hard to find something that will fit these larger gift bags. So I grabbed this. I thought this would really come in handy. I'm going to measure out like a 2-inch border around the edges. I'm just going to use my ruler, and then I will draw the lines to create those edges. And I'm actually using my gift bag because I didn't have a ruler long enough, but it worked fine. So there you go. You could use it for that. So I will draw that border on there, and then I'm going to tape it off, and I'm going to use my antique wax. I'm going to paint it. What I'm trying to do is create the look of a wooden frame around this. So what I'm going to do is paint the antique wax on there, and then I'm going to take my brush and do it all in one direction once I have it on there, and it's going to be a thicker bristle brush so it shows the lines, and that kind of gives it a look of almost like wood grain. See what I mean there? It just kind of looks like it could be wood. We know it's not, but we're just going to kind of trick the eye a little bit. So I love ripping that tape off. Isn't that satisfying? And we'll do the other 2 sides as well. So now it looks like it's got a frame on it. Now what I'm going to do, those corners, I want them to look mitered. So I'm just going to take something with an edge and kind of scrape a line there. And that makes it look like they're pieces of wood that were mitered into the corners. So that's just another little trick you can do. Now we're going to cut out the piece of the gift bag that we want, which is not the glittery side, but the other side. Now what I'm going to do is try to iron out some of those folds. And it did help quite a bit. I'm going to take some Mod Podge and I'm going to start painting it on there at the one end and just lay the picture on there so I get it in the right position. position, and then I'll roll it back and finish the Mod Podge. I'll turn over the canvas, use my brayer on the back side because it makes better contact. Now when I did that, it took off some of the paint. Of course, I will touch that up. Now I'm going to use this rope from the Dollar Tree. It's the thicker nautical rope, and I'm just going to put it around the edges because I want to create like a sense of different height or dimension to make it feel like that really is a picture frame. So I put that all the way around using hot glue, and I think that just really helps with that. Now, of course, I did touch up the paint, and I'm going to take these fairy lights that I get at Amazon. I love them. See all the little lights in the picture? I'm going to take a little screwdriver and just poke holes right next to each of those lights, and then on the wreath, I thought I would do some there too. From the back, I see the holes. I'm going to start putting in each of the little lights from the fairy lights and just kind of bend them over so they stay in the front. And once I'm done with that, I will tape down the fairy lights. I will also hot glue the fairy light battery pack and controller, but I'll make it so you could replace the batteries. I'll do it on the other side. And just tape them down so they don't move around because they could fall back through the holes. You never know. And I love this because now you could have it on when the lights aren't on at home, and it's just so pretty. I love using fairy lights to illuminate things. I think they're so fun. Here's a picture without the lights, and then you'll see one with the lights. Let me know what you think. I found these adorable gift bags at Dollar Tree. I love the little doggy on there. He's so cute. And then the fa la 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 is so fun and festive. So I've got this little kind of stand. It's got a hinge on it. It's got a house and then a square. So I'm going to take off the hinge first, and we're going to cover each piece with the different gift bag. I think this will be so fun and cute. So for the house, we're going to do the little doggy, and the other one, we're going to do fa la 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 la. And I did sand down where I pulled out those little screws. So now we're just going to cut out the pieces that we're going to use from the gift bag. So the first one we're going to cut out is the little doggy. I did cut out the whole side first, and then I'm going to take the house, put it over the dog, and trace it around, and then I have the perfect shape to cut out for the little house doggy one. So we will cut that one out. If you are enjoying this video, I hope you will hit the like button. I also hope that you will share this video with friends and family who you think would also enjoy it. And don't forget to subscribe if you aren't already. Now we're going to take the square for the other piece. We're going to find exactly where on that gift bag. I wanted to put it where you could see the words fa la 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 la, so we'll cut that one out as well. Now we're going to take our Elmer's glue stick, and we're just going to put that all around the edges first and then fill in the center. And that's how I'm going to attach both of these to those little MDF pieces that are the little stand. We'll use the brayer to smooth them out. And then I'm going to line up the other piece where I can still see the holes with the hinge, so I can poke the holes back through what I covered up with the gift bag. And now we will go ahead and we will attach the little doggy to the house with the Elmer's glue. I'm going to go ahead and trim off the excess with my X-Acto blade, and that was just very easy to do, very quick. And now that I have the holes on the one punched out, I can line it up and punch out the other one. And now I can go ahead and cover this with the polyacrylic. I want 3 coats to make it look really nice. And then I'm going to go around the edges with a furniture marker. So I did that to both, and I did the back. I thought that just looked better than the MDF. And now I'm just going to put the hinge back on with my screwdriver so that it stands just the way it was intended, which I love these little signs with the hinges. I think they're so cute. Now I'm going to take some cute little Christmas pics that I got at the Dollar Tree. They've got little sparkles in them, and I'm going to add some of these for embellishment. You know, you could embellish this any way you want. I just love these. They're just so fun and festive for the holidays. Normally, I'm not a sparkly person, but I do like them around this time of year. I just feel like it goes with the season, so I'm good with that. Now, obviously, lots of people love glam and sparkle, so, you know, no disrespect there. It's just not for me, but I do think it looks pretty. So we're going to add it on both sides of the sign just to kind of give it a little bit more character. I'm going to put some little red berries in the middle because I think that just gives it a pop of color and it's so fun. I'm also going to add a little gold berry just for another accent up in that corner of the fa la 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 piece because I thought it needed something, over there that was just that pop. And then we'll also add a little bead right to the middle of the swag on the doggy. I think this turned out adorable. I love it. I think it's so fun, and I think kids would enjoy this one too. You'll have to let me know what you think about this one. I've got this beautiful gift bag that says all these fun Christmas words on it. And then I've got this piece, it was like a hanger that has 3 rounds and it says home sweet home. So we're gonna take off the rope that's on there and we're just gonna separate them because I wanna use these 3 rounds as coasters. They're gonna be 2-sided coasters. So we'll just save that piece for another time. Obviously, we've got the one side that's already there. We're gonna kind of sand off where there were little staples just to smooth it out, get rid of the sanding dust. And now I'm just gonna pick the spot on the gift bag where I wanna cut it out. I'm trying to get a whole word on there. So I'm gonna cut out 3 of them for each of the coasters that I'm making. This is such an easy thing to do, and it comes out so cute. It's very practical too. I'm going to use Mod Podge to attach these. I decided that I wanted to make sure they were on there really, really well. So I'm just going to attach each one with Mod Podge, roll it over the top with my brayer to secure them, and then I'm going to go around the edges with a sanding block and just get rid of any edges and clean them up. Now I noticed that on the other side that was already there, the paper on it hung over, so I did turn it up to the other side and sand around those edges as well. You know how things are at Dollar Tree. They're definitely not perfect. But of course, we don't pay much for them, so what can we expect? I love how this creates such a nice clean edge, and remember, always go in a downward motion so that you don't rip the paper off. And this is when I discovered that the other side needed some sanding as well. So it just quick going around the edges and making sure it's nice and clean. I don't know about you, but I love 2-sided things. You get so much more out of them. I'm going to do 3 or 4 coats of the polyacrylic on each side because I want to make sure this can handle if a cup sweats on it, and gets water on it. I'm going to use a black marker and go around the edges of all 3 just to kind of tie it together. And that way it cleans it up because that MDF look is just not pretty. It's just not. So now we've got 3 2-sided coasters that are so cute. I love them. I really love how they turned out, and it was so easy. I mean, the hardest thing was the extra coats of polyacrylic, which is no big deal. Put it on and let them dry. Let me know what you think. Gorgeous Christmas ornaments. I've got the tree, and then I've got some snowmen, and then I've got this little shelf that I found at the Target dollar spot several years ago, and I thought it was a great deal. It was only $3. I've also got some of the microfiber cloth from Dollar Tree. I'm going to pull off that little top part of the snowman's head with my nippers, but I'm going to leave the one on the Christmas tree. So first thing we're going to do is we are going to hot glue that microfiber cloth on there. Now mine wasn't big enough, so I had to piece it together, but if you have a bigger piece, obviously that would look nicer. And of course, I went to Dollar Tree after I made this and found some. Oh well, that's how that goes, right? Anyway, I'm going to make this work. I'm just going to glue it down and, like I said, fill in the gaps with some other pieces that I have. I'm going to trim around the edges and just make sure that everything is on there securely. I'm going to have things sitting on there so you won't even notice that little seam. Now I'm going to take that Christmas tree and I'm going to put it towards the back center, and I'm going to glue underneath and on the back to secure it, and then I'm going to put a little bit of glue right behind that hanger on the top of it because it does touch the metal there. Now I'm going to put a lot of glue on my snowman. I'm just going to attach that one to one side and the second one to the other side. Now, I do have some of these bottle brush Christmas trees in my stash. I can't remember where I got them, but they're super cute. They have little wooden bases, and I'm going to add 3 of them. You could use any of these kind of trees. Dollar Tree definitely has them. Now I'm going to add some gold pine cones. They were on a garland. I just cut them off, and I thought the gold looked really nice with the gold on the metal. It's not an exact match, but I think it looks really cute. And then I'm going to add some greenery just across the front. These are some picks from leftover Dollar Tree Christmas picks. And I'm just going to add a couple different ones to the front just to give it a nice little festive look and feel. I'm also going to add this one little branch that has like little icicles on it. Again, just to give it that wintry, Christmas look. Anything I had in my stash, I'm always trying to use things up. And then I've got these cute little gold sparkly berries, and I'm just going to put them in random places kind of across the front just to add more of that sparkle. And since this has both silver and gold, I thought that would be a nice way to add a little bit more of the silver. This was such an easy piece to put together. I mean, seriously, it's mostly just gluing things and just arranging them the way you like them. So you could take anything that you had at home to put on a little shelf like this and just turn it into something beautiful. You'll have to let me know what you think. Dollar Tree had these really cute ornaments. They were like 2 little tags, and they had words on them, and then there was 3 different kinds. I wish they had 4 different kinds, but I could only find 3, so I had to repeat one. And then I've also got this little wood slice that was left over from an ornament I made a long time ago. And then this is another set of ornaments that I had, and this is also from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use that snowflake. I'm going to take these 4 tags, and I'm just going to try arranging them because we're going to create a little wreath out of this. So I'm just kind of playing with the order and how I want them to look, and then I will eventually turn it over because we need to attach them to each other and to the little wood slice we're going to put right in the center. I'm just making sure the words are the direction I wanted them to be. Now I'm going to take that wood slice, I'm going to lay it face forward, and I'm going to set it in the center and then kind of line up these little groups of 2 tags. I've got some craft sticks. These just happen to be colored, doesn't really matter, but I wanted to use them up. And so I'm going to use generous amount of hot glue, and I'm going to put a craft stick for every single tag. Even though they're attached to each other, I wanted more stability for this wreath. So I'll go all the way around and do that. And you can use any kind of glue you want. The hot glue seemed to hold up really well, so I thought that would be fine. Now I'm just going to turn it over and look and see what I think about it. And I'm going to take that snowflake and I'm going to just put glue all around the back, and I'm going to set it right in the center. And I just thought that really tied this whole thing together because there's a lot of wood and I wanted to have different textures and colors. Now I'm just going to take a handle from a gift bag that I had left over, and I'm going to hot glue it on, and that's going to become our hanger. And of course I added some masking tape to secure it. Now that's going to be covered when we're all done. I've got these evergreen picks from Amazon, such a great deal there, and I always have them in my Amazon store if you are interested. I'm just going to dry fit them right now to see how many I need and what it's going to look like, and I decided that 2 of these picks each was perfect. I'm going to turn my wreath over, and then we are going to hot glue these picks. First, I'm just going to trim the ends a teeny bit. They were a little long for what I needed, so you can see the difference there. Now that I've got them trimmed, I'm going to glue the 2 in each little gap there and just kind of hold it so they stay right where I want them, and then move on to the next one. And I'll do that at all 4 of the intersections. And then I cut a circle out of that little bit of microfiber cloth that I had left, and I'm just going to cover all of that ugliness on the back where all the points are, and that just makes it look much better. I think this one is gorgeous. I mean, it actually looks like it's store-bought, not homemade. I really liked it. It's amazing what you can do with some of these Dollar Tree ornaments. I love them. So what do you think about this one? If you've you've been watching my channel for a while, you know I love to do faith-based crafts, and especially around this time of the year. So I've got all these different little ornaments, and then I have that cute little planked sign from the Dollar Tree. And what we're going to do is, this is a simple project, but I wanted to do it because I believe it has meaning. So we've got the Bible, the angel, the peace sign, and the door, and then of course the base we're going to use. So I'm going to take off all of the little tags and all the strings and the hangers and everything, and I'm going to start fitting them on here to see how I want this to go. So we're going to put the door in the center, the angel to the left, the Bible on the right, and then I'm going to pry off just the word peace from that other sign. We don't need the whole thing. So what the key here is, you go very slow. I'm using a little flat spatula, and I hold down the rest of it while I'm doing it so I don't pop it off and break it up. One part of it here was attached, and so I had to use my blade to kind of cut through it, and then very carefully, gently, I used my spatula to pop it off without breaking it. I gotta say, it's a miracle I didn't break it. These things are not exactly the sturdiest little words, but it worked out. And I'm just going to cut off any excess wood that was there, and then I'll sand it just to make sure there aren't any rough points left. And you got to hold it really carefully while you're sanding it so it doesn't break by pulling on it. And I think I'll put that word peace right up at the top. We're going to hot glue them all in the positions that we just did it. What I had in mind here is knock and the door should be opened. And then the angel of the Lord, who is always there with you, watching for you. And it says hope on it, which we have hope in the Lord. The Holy Bible, which is the bread of life. It's God's living word, which we need. And if we have all of that, we will have peace, because peace is not a place. Peace is a person, and that person is Jesus Christ. So I thought this was very meaningful to hang up in your house. And I'm just going to add a few little pics here, to keep it a little bit Christmassy. And I'm going to add some cute little gold pine cones that I had on a garland. I just want to dress it up just a little bit. But the important thing here is the message that it sends, which is Jesus is the only way. So I just really wanted to bring this craft to you today, this time of year, because I think the message that it sends is so beautiful. And for those of you who already believe, I know that you understand. And if you don't, this might be something new and interesting to learn about. Anyway, I just love how this one turned out. I think it's just so special. And a little trick is, if you ever break off any piece of those styrofoam berries, just use a red pen and it'll just fix them right up and cover up those little white spots. I love how this one turned out. It was very easy and such a meaningful craft. You'll have to let me know what you think about this one. I love making garlands. I'm sure you've heard me say that before. And I saw these cute little Christmas tree ornaments. It came 2 in a pack, and there was silver, green, and red with the little bells. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is adorable. So I'm going to take this black and white baker's twine. I'm going to take the end, and I'm just going to put a little bit of tape on there to make it stiff so that I can thread it through the beads and the pieces. Now, those cute little buffalo check beads, I ordered them on Amazon. They are so cute. I've had them for years, and I just use them here and there as I see fit. And I thought that was really cute on this particular project. And I'll be honest, I didn't want to paint beads. That's one of the least fun things you can do, is painting beads. And I know there's all kinds of hacks for them, but either way, it's a mess. Anyway, I'm going to do a black and white, and then a red and black, and a black and white, and that'll be the pattern for the beads. And then I'll hang a Christmas tree. Then I'll do the same thing with the beads and another Christmas tree, and I'll alternate the colors of the Christmas trees until I have them all on there. And when I get to the end, I'm just going to create a little loop, making a slip knot, and then adding a knot at the end so that it won't come out. And I'm going to do that on the other end as well once I cut it and decide how long I want it to be. Making garlands like this are so easy. I mean, literally, it's just stringing things onto the baker's twine. And look how adorable this is turning out. Plus, if you wanted to, it's got the bells, so you could put it somewhere where it might ring, or if that's too annoying, just hang it somewhere where nobody will ever touch it. And that's what I chose to do, because I mean, I love the sound of bells, but all the time, no, thank you. Not for me. Am I the only one who gets annoyed if sounds keep repeating themselves too much? Please let me know if you feel the same way. I mean, I think you probably do, because I think most people don't want to keep hearing things over and over and over. Anyway, I digress. I just was curious if you were just like me. And there it is. It's all done, and I think that it turned out really, really cute. I love the colors. I love just that festive feel, and it was so easy. I love easy crafts, don't you? Let me know what you think. From Walmart. I'm going to use Merry Christmas and the part with the truck and Santa and the reindeer. I found this cute little metal mason jar at the Goodwill, and it was literally $3.99, and I think that's a great deal because it's a very big piece. We're going to take off the rope hanger and then the decorative rope that's on there as well. Now I'm going to take some rubbing alcohol and I'm just going to clean it off because, you know, things at the thrift store get really dirty. So I just like to do that. Plus the paint will go on much nicer. We're going to use the Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint and I'm going to cover the whole thing. And it doesn't have to be perfect because we are going to make it look distressed with this ink chalk paint from Waverly. I'm just going to go around the edges and then kind of go wherever that metal, you know, the corrugated part is. I'm just going to kind of wipe it on there as well. There you go, just to give it a little bit more of a distressed look, which I think looks really cute for this. I'm going to take some Mod Podge and I'm going to put it down first before I add the window clings, just because this isn't glass, and so I just like to make sure it's going to stay really, really well. I'm going to take off the words Merry and Christmas and just position them. I'm going to leave room at the top because we will embellish that in just a little bit. And very carefully, I'll just start in the middle of it and I'll rub down and just kind of make sure I don't get any bubbles or anything like that. And just reposition as needed until it's laying just the way I want. Now I'm going to add Mod Podge on the rest of this piece, and I'm going to pull off that truck with Santa, a reindeer, and the Christmas tree. And I'm just going to stick that, you know, towards the bottom. And I'll do it exactly the same way. And now I've got these cute little snowflakes that were on here, and I'm just going to fill in kind of the areas in between because I just think that looks so cute. It gives the impression of like that it's snowing, and I thought that was awesome. I can't believe how easy this is. A couple pieces of the cling kind of hung over the edge, so I just used a sanding sponge and in a downward motion very carefully sanded off those little pieces. Now I'm going to cover the whole thing with some more Mod Podge just to make sure it's sealed in there really nice. I'm going to cut up some greenery picks. I think they're evergreens that I got from Amazon. Great deal. And then first, though, I'm going to add back the hanger. And I'm just going to pull it from the back, make the big knot. I'm going to hot glue the knot down because I like to make sure it stays in place. And I'll do that to both sides of it. Now we'll take those greenery picks and we'll just create like a swag. So whatever I do on one side, I'll do on the other, and I'll just hot glue them down. And I kind of want the little knots to still show, so I'm going to kind of work around that by cutting off a little bit of the greenery pick so it doesn't block it. You'll see what I'm doing here. Now I'm just going to fill in a little bit more at the top with the pieces that we didn't use. I'm going to take this beautiful poinsettia from a pick that I got, and I'm just going to add the leaves first, and then I'm going to put the flower right in the middle. I just think that is so beautiful, and I love the pop of color that it adds. Now I'm going to take these sparkly greenery picks from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to put some on each side here, and just adding, you know, that little bit of sparkle to it, which makes it feel so Christmassy and fun for the holidays. And I love it. I think this piece might be my favorite in today's video. Let me know what you think. I just love how it turned out. This Walmart window cling set was only 98 cents. You cannot beat that. And then I've got a pizza pan from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to clean it off with my rubbing alcohol. It had been sitting in my stash for a while, so I thought it might be a little dusty, and I want to make sure the window cling sticks really well. So now I'm just going to take that biggest piece from the window cling. It's like an ice skating rink, and I thought on the pizza pan it was perfect because it looks like ice then. So I just put that on there, and now I'm just going to add some cute little snowflakes that were on there just to kind of fill it in. And then I'm going to add a couple of the trees as well because I want to give it a more, almost three-dimensional type look, if you will. You'll see here in just a second how I'm going to add the trees. So see how I layered that over? That way it almost looks like it's in front of it. So anyway, I thought it looked really cute to do that, and I wanted to fill in the gaps on the bottom as well. Now I'm going to add some Mod Podge underneath some of the ones that weren't sticking really well, and then I'll put Mod Podge over the top of the whole entire thing. I noticed that those little snowflakes just weren't laying the way I wanted them to. Easy fix though. So now it's all covered and everything is nice and secure. I've got this poinsettia garland that I got in a Michael's grab bag a couple years ago. It was a great thing. I got about 20 of them, so I'm going to be using these forever. But I'm going to cut off the little poinsettias, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a pattern. So I'll start at the very top, and I'm going to add a poinsettia, and then I've got these little pine picks from Amazon, and I'm going to cut off the metal point at the end, and I'm going to put one on either side of the poinsettia, and I'll just keep doing that all the way around. And that's going to be a beautiful border for this, and this is going to turn into a wreath or a wall hanging, whatever you want. But I think it just turned out beautiful, and the red in the poinsettias just picks up the little bit of red in the window clings, but just enough to make it pop. And I really am loving that. So there it is. They are all on there now. Isn't that the cutest? Now we're just going to turn it over and add a hanger. I'm just going to use a piece from a mop head because I just love the way they look and the way they work. Use some hot glue and some masking tape, which is what I usually do to make sure that it's on there nice and secure. Now, because I made the hanger kind of long, I decided I better add some more glue moving up towards the top because otherwise it's just going to like pull away from wherever I hang it. And I'll add a little bit more tape on that too, just to make sure it's nice and secure. This was so easy, and look how adorable it is. I mean, what a fun thing to make. I love how it turned out. Let me know what you think. Another 98-cent window cling sheet from Walmart. Look how adorable these are. Oh my gosh. And then I have this house from the Dollar Tree. And what I'm going to do is create a gingerbread house out of all this. So first I'm just going to make sure there's no dust on it and clean it off with my rubbing alcohol, especially because I'm using window clings. I'm going to cover the whole thing in Mod Podge because I want to make sure that the window clings stay really well. If you are enjoying this video, I hope you will consider sharing it with your friends and family, especially if it's something they would like too. Go ahead and put it on your social media. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Now we're going to start with this house, and I'm going to put it where the door looks like it's where the door should be on the house we're working on. And I'm going to create like a layered look. So I'm going to take this other one, I'm going to cut off the chimney part because I don't want that to compete with the chimney that's already on the house. And we're going to make it look like it's just another level of this house. So I'm just kind of cutting off the excess there. And then once I have that cut off, because I want to make sure that it lays properly without overlapping with the other cling piece, and then I will attach it. So it's almost like it's a little dormer, on the house. And I know there's a door there, but we'll just pretend it's like a balcony. And then I'm going to add a tree right next to it. Now I end up switching that tree out later, you'll see shortly. But I thought it would look cute. And then I'm going to add these snowflakes, and then there's some little gumdrops. We're going to add those as well, just to kind of make this look festive and cute and fun, which I just think it already does. Now here's where I switch out the tree. I felt like this tree just fit better, and so that's why I switched it. And now I'm adding the little gumdrops. I'm going to put a couple where I'm putting them right now, and then a couple up by the chimney. Now I'm going to cover the whole thing with Mod Podge to make sure that it's nice and secure. And if you notice, one of the little gumdrops must have come off. I do have another one that I add. Now I'm going to add hot glue and pieces of this mop head, and I'm going to create snow wherever I think snow would be hitting kind of the top of the pieces of the house. So we'll go around the roof line, at the top, and then we'll also do some on those little areas that I put on there that kind of look like little cutouts of the house, or like pieces that stick out a little bit. And then we'll put some at the very bottom because snow always kind of accumulates towards the base of your house. I love using the mop heads from Dollar Tree for these kind of things. It's just a perfect thing, and it's so easy to work with. Now I'm going to cut several pieces of the mop head, and I'm going to glue it to the back side of the top of the chimney, and we're just going to kind of unravel them and make it look like there is smoke coming out of the chimney. And I thought afterwards I probably could have used cotton balls for this, but I was already working with the mop head, so I thought, okay, fine, let's just do that. And I think it turned out cute, so that's just another option if you want to use cotton balls. And then I'm just going to add some more on this other little level here. I just felt like that looked really cute to do that. There's so many ways you can be creative with these window clings and then using Dollar Tree items with them. I mean, the possibilities are endless. You just got to think out of the box a little bit and just kind of guess, what could you do with this? That's what I do. I look through my stash and I go, what could I do with this? And it's so much fun. It's like a challenge that I give myself. Does anyone else do that? It's like a game for me. I love doing it. So I'm just going to add the hanger on the back using some more of the mop head with hot glue and some tape just to make sure it's nice and secure. This was so easy, and it turned out adorable. I really like it. I've got it sitting on my coffee bar right now, and it was so easy to make. Oh my gosh, this is such a fun one. Let me know what you think. I've got this beautiful snowflake window cling sheet from Walmart, and these 3 pieces of wood squares I got on Amazon, and my ocean colored Waverly chalk paint. I'm just going to put tape on the back and tape it down to my paper that I'm painting on, just so they don't move while I'm painting them. Sometimes with smaller items, it's easy to do that because otherwise when you paint, sometimes it moves them around, and I just didn't really want to have to deal with that. Now I'm going to take the ocean paint, and I'm just going to paint each of these on the top and around the edges. Now I'm going to put a clear glaze over them because I want it to be easier for the window clings to stick. Before it dries, I decided to try to stick the window cling on. That did not work. So I ended up having to use Mod Podge. I thought it was going to be good enough to use that clear glaze as the sticky stuff, but it just rolled right up. So no big deal. I just lifted them up and did the Mod Podge, and that worked out just fine. Once they're all adhered on the back of each of the window clings, I will also put the Mod Podge over the top to make sure they're laying flat and seal the whole thing. So now I've got my 3 pieces, and I'm just going to use a sanding sponge for anything that has a little bit of the window cling hanging out the edge, and in a downward motion, I will just sand that off. Now I'm going to use the mop head again from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to go around the edges of each of these pieces. And what will happen is when I get all the way around, I'll have a little bit left over, and that's going to work out really well to create what we're making, which is like a little hanger. So I'll do this to all 3 pieces, and now I'll be able to take that piece that was hanging over and hot glue it to the one above it, and that will be a great way to attach them. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of tape to each one to make sure that it stays in place really well. So there it is. I'm going to secure the little pieces on the ends there just to make sure they're laying nice and flat. And then the last one, I'm going to loop it around, hot glue it and tape it, and that will become our hanger. So this just worked out really well because I was able to utilize all of the mop head to create the whole thing. I'm going to get some little frosted greenery picks from Dollar Tree. I'm just going to glue them on the little gaps between. I thought that made it really pretty and festive, and it kind of matched with the silver in the snowflakes. This was another very easy window cling DIY hack. I love it. What a fun and festive piece. It's just so pretty. Let me know what you think. Doesn't matter which one you pick. I've got a gift bag, also from Dollar Tree, and a microfiber cloth that I also got at the Dollar Tree. I'm going to trace on my gift bag the outside of the canvas so I can cut out the picture that I want to use. Now, don't worry about the words and how they're going to get cut off. You won't even see that part when we are all finished with this. I love this gift bag. What a beautiful picture it has on it. Now I'm going to take some foam board, and I'm also going to cut out and trace that shape as well. You could use cardboard if you want. I decided to use foam board. I think in the future I will use cardboard because you don't have to deal with that foamy edge. So now the first thing I'm going to do is just put on a strip of the Mod Podge, and I'm going to start centering the picture right on there. And then I use my brayer to make sure it's adhered, and then I will finish the rest of it with the Mod Podge and the brayer. I'll turn it over and trim off the excess. Now I'm going to take a beautiful piece of scrapbook paper and trace out that same shape using the canvas. I will cut that out. One of the fun things about this project is you get to mix and match colors of scrapbook paper or fabric, whatever you want. So on the very inside on the back, I'm going to cut out a piece of that microfiber cloth, and I will attach it on the inside with some Mod Podge. It's okay if it goes up around the edges because you're not going to see that part at all. Now, also, you could use hot glue for this one because it's fabric. It just dries faster and you don't have to worry about anything popping up. I did do it with the Mod Podge and it worked out fine, and I used my brayer to make sure that it was really, really adhered on there. Now I'm going to turn over the canvas and I'm going to attach that piece of scrapbook paper I cut out. Now it's thick scrapbook paper, so I didn't have to paint the front of the canvas. You won't see the design that's underneath at all. So now that that is attached, I'm going to take some fern paint, which is basically green, and I'm just going to paint around the edges. I thought that was way easier than trying to fold the paper around. I'm going to take a screwdriver and I'm just going to punch a bunch of holes in my picture through the foam board because I'm going to add some fairy lights pushing through from the back to the front and make it look like there's Christmas lights on the trees, some of the trees anyway. And I am so excited about this because I've done this before with a different project and I love the way it turns out. So it's fun. You turn the lights on while you're doing it, glue the battery pack on the back, and then I just put a little tape for that one end part. And look how pretty that is. Oh my gosh. Now I'm going to take a blade and I'm going to cut a crisscross through the canvas, and then I'm going to take some scissors and I'm going to cut in each of those squares, kind of like making it like pie pieces. And on this one I had to use scissors because of the fabric was so thick it was easier than using the blade. I'm going to cut out a little notch so that the hanger that was already on the canvas shows through so I don't have to add another hanger. And I just did that on the front and the back. Now I'm going to hot glue this picture on the foam board face down into the back of the canvas. So now we're going to turn it over and we're going to take each of those pieces and we're going to curl them around and hot glue them down. And this is what creates our busted canvas look. So it looks like the picture on the inside is kind of busting through. And I love using that microfiber cloth because it gives that feeling of snow. And I thought this just turned out so beautiful. Oh my gosh. And there's so many ways you can do this, which I will also show you in other projects here. Look how easy this was to do. It's several steps, but they're all easy steps. It's not complicated. It just looks like it is when you see the end result. And I am absolutely in love with this one. I think it is so cute. Here's what it looks like before you turn the lights on, and then I'll show it to you in the dark with the lights on. Let me know what you think. For this project, I have another Dollar Tree canvas here, and then I've got some little Christmas trees from the Dollar Tree and a gift bag, and then I've also got some scrapbook paper, and I picked 2 pieces that I thought coordinated really well together with that and the gift bag picture. So that's part of the fun, is figuring out what looks good together, what's kind of complementary. I'm going to trace the canvas shape out on a piece of foam board and cut that out. Then I'm going to trace that shape again over the part of the gift bag that I want to use for the picture on the inside, and I will cut that out. If you are enjoying this video, please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already subscribed, and the notification bell so you'll know whenever I post a new video. Now I'm going to add some glue stick on the back there, and I'm just going to start attaching the picture that is the gift bag onto the foam board. And I start with one piece just to make sure it's positioned correctly. Then I add some more glue. And I'm just showing you there are several different ways you can attach this: Mod Podge, glue stick, hot glue, whatever you want. And I'm going to use my brayer to make sure that there are no bubbles and that it's adhered really well. Now I'm going to take a piece of scrapbook paper that I chose, and I'm just going to kind of fold it into the inside back of the canvas so that I get a nice line to cut out that shape. And of course, you can always trim it afterwards if it doesn't, come out exactly right, which is no big deal. I'm going to use some Mod Podge, and I'm just going to attach that onto the inside. This is the part that when you fold out the busted canvas is going to show over the top. I'm just going to go around the edges, make sure it's nicely adhered, and use my brayer to do the same thing. Now there's the complementary piece that I'm going to use to cut out for the top. And this time I literally just folded it over the edge and cut it out. And I'm going to add Mod Podge at the top to position it, and then I'll complete adding the Mod Podge to make sure it's on there really well. I'll go around the edges with the brayer a little bit over the top, but then I will turn it over because it's like hollow when you're on the right side. You really want to use it on the back to make sure it sticks well. I'm going to take out the cute little Christmas trees. This is going to be like a 3-dimensional kind of pop out busted canvas. I'm going to cut off the edges of the stand of the Christmas tree because they were going to stick out too far, and I just use my tin snips for that. And then I'm going to attach both trees right on the picture because I want it to, like I said, look 3-dimensional. I'm going to take some Mod Podge and then add a microfiber pad, little pieces, and just kind of make it look like there's kind of snow all around the other trees. So I brush off a lot of it. I just leave a little bit on there, but it's kind of a messy thing to do, but it does look cute. Now I'm going to trim around the back of the canvas to make sure the front is nice and flush with the edges. And then I'm going to take my ink chalk paint, which is black, and I'm just going to go around all the edges. I really don't want to try to fold scrapbook paper over the edges. It's really a pain. So just painting it is a much easier way to go. I'm going to take a blade and I'm going to cut a crisscross, and then I'm going to cut a diagonal crisscross so that I have all the pieces of my busted canvas that I can fold back and do the reveal of the inside paper. So I'm just kind of rolling them back and getting them, ready to go. Now I'm going to cut out a little notch so that the hanger that's already on the canvas is able to be used. And then I'm going to hot glue my picture right onto the back of this frame of the canvas. I'm going to add a little extra hot glue and make sure that it's nice and secure. Look at this already shaping up. I'm going to fold all the little corners down and hot glue them, and I absolutely love this one because of that pop out 3-dimensional look. That is so fun and cool. Just think of all the possibilities of what you could do with something like this. I love this one. You'll have to let me know what you think. Would you try this? I've got a smaller Dollar Tree canvas here, and I thought it'd be fun to try something small for a busted canvas. And I've got this greeting card, and I love the picture on the front with the birds. It's so pretty. And I picked some complimentary scrapbook paper. I love just kind of mixing and matching the scrapbook paper for these projects. Now I'm going to cut out the shape of the canvas using a blade, so I have a piece to put my picture on, which is that greeting card, and just making sure it's the right size. Now I'm going to position that foam board right on top of the card so I know what piece I want to use. And now I'm going to cut out the scrapbook paper just by going around the edges of the canvas, and now I've got my 2 pieces. I'm going to use some Mod Podge and put some on just to get it positioned, use my brayer to secure it, and then I'll go ahead and attach the rest of it with the Mod Podge and secure it and use the brayer to smooth it down. If you know anyone who would enjoy this video, please feel free to share it on your social media accounts. Thanks. Now I've got my 2 pieces of the scrapbook paper, and I'm just deciding which one I want to be underneath and which one I want to be poking over. So I decided that I'm going to have the cute little greenery one on the back side, which will be the one that folds around the top. So you'll see that in a minute. I'm attaching that with some Mod Podge. And I almost put it on backwards. Did you see that? Anyway, caught it just in time. Oh my gosh, that would have been not good. Now on the front, I'm going to add the other piece of scrapbook paper that I cut out. I love using plaid. I just think it's so pretty, especially around Christmas time. I have a whole book of scrapbook paper that's just plaid that I ordered on Amazon. I love it. We're just going to secure that, use the brayer, turn it over, and attach it on the inside as well, just to make sure we get some good contact. I'm going to take the lacquer chalk paint, which is red, and just go around the edges for this one. I think that'll look really pretty. So that part is all finished now. We are going to attach the picture on the foam board to the back. The picture goes towards the inside. Now, usually I cut out the front before, but for some reason I forgot. I did add a little twine hanger because this one didn't have a hanger on it. And I added a little piece of masking tape just to secure that. Now, just carefully, I'm going to go over the top, and since it's just the scrapbook paper, it wasn't too hard. If I went too far, I would have gotten the picture. That's why I recommend you do this part first, so not sure what I was thinking. Anyway, I'll do the crisscrosses down the sides and the corners, and now I'm just going to start folding over the edges, and then I will curl them up and I will hot glue down the edges and roll them over. This one is so beautiful. Oh my gosh, I love that greeting card. It's amazing what you can use to create this. Gift bags, pictures, paper, you know, whatever you want, greeting cards, you name it. You could use fabric, whatever you think would look really pretty, or you could even just paint the canvas and put something on it, like a sticker or whatever you like. I love the possibilities with this. They really are endless, and this is so fun and easy to do. And look at all those gorgeous colors. Let me know what you think of this one. I've got a Dollar Tree canvas here, and I've got this beautiful snowflake ornament, and then I've got 2 of these gift bags, and I love the texture on them, and then I have 2 complimentary scrapbook paper pages. I'm going to take this particular canvas and trace it out and cut it out from on my foam board so that I have a nice piece to add my picture to. I am going to cut out these gift bags because they're not big enough to cover the whole thing, but if I use 2 of them, I can make it work. So that's what I did, and I Mod Podge those on, and then I'm going to trim the excess off with my blade. Now I'm going to take this ornament, I'm going to cut off the little hanger part and cut off the thick part on the back so it'll lay flat. I'm going to hot glue it right to the center. This is so pretty, and I'm going to add a bunch of greenery all around. That gift bag reminds me of those tin tiles, and I love that look. I mean, Dollar Tree does sell tiles, so you could have also used that. I just had this gift bag and I had run out of those tiles already. I love the way the greenery looks on there. Now I'm just going to trace the shape of the canvas on the outside, the one that goes on the top of the scrapbook paper, and cut that out. And then I'm going to take the other one and kind of fit it into the inside on the back side, fold into the corners, and then I have a good spot to cut that out. I'm going to Mod Podge the inside back and attach that one piece of scrapbook paper that I cut out for that. So now this will be the piece that rolls over the top. And we see, I love this. This is so fun, coordinating the different colors and patterns. And now I'm going to attach this other snowflake piece of scrapbook paper to the top. I'll start in one end, secure it, and then get the rest going just to make sure it covers the whole thing. And once I have that all on there, I do like to turn it over and also use the brayer on the inside, since you can't push down real hard with the frame there. That kind of stops it from getting a nice adhesion. So if you turn it over and then go ahead with the brayer, you really make good contact on that other side. And I also like to press it down with my fingers just to get in the corners and stuff. I'm going to cut off any excess that I had on the edges. Now I'm going to take my white chalk paint and I'm just going to go around the edges. Once I finish that, I'm going to cut crisscross and then from the corners crisscross to create the busted canvas look. There we go. Now I'm going to attach the picture to the back, face forward. And this one, I already had a little divot in my foam board, so I didn't have to cut out the hanger. It was already exposed. Now I'm just gonna roll back those pieces. Look how beautiful this turned out. I love the color combination, and that snowflake in the middle is so cool. I love the three-dimensional look. It's like a pop-out busted canvas. These are so fun to make. Definitely let me know if you wanna try this now. Jenga blocks and this Hello Autumn sign. Now they have those at the Dollar Tree and they don't have to look like this because we're going to cover it up anyway. So I'm going to take some burnt umber, it's acrylic paint, and I'm just going to cover it up with the brown, and that's just going to be our base. And I'm doing that because I want this to look a little bit like wood grain, and we're going to do this technique where you paint it brown like this and then go all in one direction with the brush, and then with a messy kind of chippy brush I go over it with the white in one direction and it kind of looks like wood. So now we're going to take the 9 Jenga blocks and we're going to paint them all with this burnt umber color as well. These are going to be little reindeer, actually Santa's reindeer. We'll wipe back the paint so it looks more like stain, and we'll do that on both sides of them and the back. I'm going to take a white chalk marker and I'm going to draw little eyes on all of them. Now I'm going to take a little black marker. I'm going to paint some little circles in the eyes just to kind of give them a little more dimension. I needed to switch markers because the one I had wasn't that good. And I'm just going to make like little spots on top of the eyes, like little eyebrows kind of. And then I'll do a big black nose on all of them except one, which I'm going to do red. And that's Rudolph. And then I'll use the white marker and make little smiles on all of them too. I decided not to make them all look different. And then I added a little kind of an upside down C on the top of the nose just to make it look like it had a little shine to him. I'm going to take some pipe cleaners. I'm going to bend them a piece in half, a small piece, and I'm going to hot glue that to the very top of each of these Jenga blocks, or now reindeer. And we're going to start making some little antlers with them. They don't all have to be identical. And then I'm just going to cut 2 little pieces and add them on to the sides to give that antler, a little bit more of a antler look, if you will. And just kind of snip it till it looks right. I'm going to do that to all 9 of the reindeer. I'm going to hot glue them about 3/4 of the way on the little board and then let the top part of the head kind of hang off there. Originally, I thought about writing all their names, but there really wasn't a lot of room, and it would have been so small that I almost thought it wasn't worth it. And I think with Rudolph in the middle, you get the idea. So the way I centered them was I did one in the middle, which was Rudolph, one on each end, and then started going between each one to make sure they were evenly spaced. That's usually the easiest way I find to center things on a surface. Instead of getting out a ruler and measuring, it just eyeballing it that way actually works really well. And you can see not all the antlers are identical. I did that on purpose. Added some greenery to the bottom, like a swag, and those are greenery pieces I get from Amazon. And then I put some red berries and a couple of really pretty gold sprayed little mini pine cones that were on a garland I had. And then I went and put some of that brown paint over the top where I glued the antlers to cover up the hot glue. And that way you don't notice it. And I think this turned out so cute. It already has a hanger built into the back. And what an easy, fun craft. This would be so fun to do with the kids or grandkids. Let me know what you think. Sometimes it's so hard to find a frame that's just the size you need. So I'm going to make one out of the blocks. I'm going to take 40 blocks and this Mary sign from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to start positioning the blocks around it to create a frame. And then I'll glue them side by side. So for the top and the bottom, I'll start with those and just glue them together. And you can see there, I've got 8 blocks across the top, 8 across the bottom, and 3 on either side that fit underneath in between those blocks. So 22 just for the basic shape of the frame. And we're going to start putting them together. I'm going to use my square ruler to try to keep my angles correct, so that it really is like a nice rectangle. Now we're going to use the rest of the blocks on the back to reinforce some of those seams. I found when you do a project with the blocks that if you don't reinforce the seams on a long or tall project, that they do come apart. And I'm only using hot glue for the purpose of the video. I highly recommend hot glue and wood glue. So here I'm going back over the seams of these blocks on the back side with some more of the Jenga blocks. You see what I did there? We're going to put a piece in each of the corners as well to reinforce those. So I'll just make sure that you can't really see them from the front. You will see a little bit on the inside corner. Do you see that there? But I think that looks actually very pretty. I've got a sawtooth hanger. I'm just going to put it on there and screw it onto the back. And now our frame is completely built. I'm going to use red, green, and white paint. You can use any paint you want. Mine is chalk paint, but yours doesn't have to be. That's just what I had on hand. And I did the M and the R in the green, and I'm going to do the E and the other R in the red. I'm going to paint the little reindeer that signifies the Y in white first. And then I'm going to take this beautiful Christmas napkin that I got a couple years ago at Walmart, and I'm just going to cut a piece, and we're going to Mod Podge that right over the top. So first we're going to paint the Mod Podge on, and we're going to let it dry completely. While it's drying, I'm going to take the white paint and I'm going to paint the whole picture frame, front, back, sides, everything. I just wanted to get that done while the other piece was drying. Now that it dried, I'm going to put my napkin over the top and a piece of parchment paper. I'm going to take my little mini press iron. You can use a regular iron for this too. And I'm just going to go over it until it's definitely stuck. You can check it. And once you do that, it's going to stick perfectly in it. There's no like bubbles or anything. It's going to take a blade and I'm going to go around the edges and I'm going to cut them away. You could also use like a lighter and do it with fire if you feel comfortable, or you could use like a nail file and go around the edges in a downward motion, whatever you prefer. It was a little piece and it had a couple of twists and turns, and I felt like the sharp blade with the point on the end might be the best way, and it worked out just fine. I think it came out really cute. I'm going to spray a clear glaze over the whole thing. And now we are going to figure out how we can attach this inside the frame. I've got this gutter guard. I got it at Lowe's, I think. It was on sale for that whole roll was like 99 cents. So I bought a bunch of it because I thought it looks like chicken wire and I could use this for projects. So I did not have any of my large staples around. I was out of them. So I took some thumbtacks and I just went around each corner and then filled in on the sides and I hammered those in. They're the upholstery kind, so they're pretty heavy duty, and it's on there really, really good. It's not going anywhere. So now I put my little Mary sign in there. And I'm just going to turn it over and I'm going to use a couple more thumbtacks and just attach it that way. And it was the perfect way to attach this. I didn't feel like hot glue was going to work, and I didn't want to lump a bunch of other glue on there. And look at that. It just fits so well. Now I've got these little pine picks. They're great for fillers. Got them on Amazon. I'm going to cut off the ends. And I'm just going to hot glue them to each of the corners. Take a mini pine cone. You know I love those. And put one on each of the pine picks. Now you don't have to do this if you don't want to, but this is just what I wanted to do to finish it off. And I love how it turned out. I think it's so cute, festive, and it was actually a very easy thing to put together. So let me know what you think, and a great way to make a custom size frame with the blocks. For this project, we're going to use 28 of the blocks and some twine. So what I'm going to do, first of all, is I'm going to set 4 kind of where the corners are right next to each other. And then I'm going to take the next pieces and go over those gaps between the other ones. I did get a little off center as I did this, so it's so hard to get this just right. So you have to be really careful how you place them. So you see how I did that? I just set the 4 down, put 4 on the alternate where they're open. And now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to keep building to make it as tall as I want. Like I said, it ended up being almost rectangular when I was done. And I went up 4 high from the very, very bottom. And so there's 3 on the pieces between them. I'm going to paint the whole thing with my white paint, and I just used a smaller brush to get into the little nooks and crannies in there, and I just wanted the whole thing to be white. I thought that way it goes with so many different things, no matter what your decor is. Now I'm going to take my twine, and I used a very thin twine. I'm going to glue the end on the inside, and I cut pieces so that I didn't have to worry about fitting the roll in there. And I'm just going to wrap it around about 6 times and just make sure that it lays right next to the strand next to it. And just keep going around till I get it about, just that center area, and then I will hot glue it down and cut off the excess. And I'm going to do that on all 4 of the taller sides. So those are the sides that had the 4 blocks. I thought that gave it such a cute rustic look. I love that. Now, I could leave it just like this if it wasn't for Christmas, but I'm going to go ahead and spruce it up a bit. I'm going to take these pine picks, cut off the metal ends, and I'm going to hot glue them in the gaps on the side that doesn't have the twine. So there's 4 sides that have 2 gaps. We're just going to go ahead and put those in each of those little gap areas. So you see how that filled in? I think that looks so cute. Now on the other areas where the twine is, I'm going to use a couple pieces of Christmas scatter foam from the Dollar Tree. Got a red Santa boot and a gold star, and I'm going to put the gold stars on 2 of the sides and the red Santa boots on the other side. And this was just a perfect idea. That way you get a pop color, the gold star, and it's so cute and festive. And you could put a little tea light candle, not a real one, but I would put a battery operated one in there. I didn't have one handy to show you, but I think you could do that. It would look so cute. Or just put some flowers or Christmas greenery in there. Let me know what you think. For this project, we're going to use 12 of the blocks, and then I've got a little battery-operated tea light, and it kind of flickers. It's super cute. I'm going to make a square, but the way I'm going to make it is with the pieces kind of going inside of each other. So as I turn it around, it just fits nicely inside of each other, and it's an easy way to make a really nice square. I think we all know that the Jenga blocks from the Dollar Tree or the tumbling tower blocks are not all built the same, so it's hard to get things exactly even. So I'm going to make 2 of those squares, and then I'm going to take the 4 remaining pieces and put them on each of the corners to create like a little riser effect. Now I'm just using hot glue, but I would highly recommend that you use hot glue and wood glue. I'm just trying to make my projects a little bit quickly as I make videos. I'm going to put hot glue on the top of each of those pieces, and then I'm going to very carefully set the other piece on top and try to make sure that it's centered exactly the way I need it. Now I'm going to paint the whole thing white. Of course, you can make these any color you want, and if you want, you can make a whole bunch of these, and it's going to be an ornament and give them away. I'm going to take a piece off of the mop head I've got here, and I'm going to create the hanger. So I'm just going to hot glue it into one of the corners at the top of the square, and then I'll figure out how long it needs to be, cut it, and then I'll glue the other part into the opposite corner, and that becomes our hanger for the ornament. And this is so lightweight that those hangers are going to be very secure. Now I'm going to take that little tea light and I'm going to position it, turn it over, and then I'm going to start hot gluing it in there really, really well. Now you can still get to it to turn it on and off, and it would be very easy to remove it if you wanted to heat it up on the bottom with a heat tool or a blow dryer if you needed to change the battery or replace the whole thing. So that'll be really easy. I've got these little pine picks from Amazon. I'm going to cut off the metal ends. And I'm just going to put 4 of them in there as I go around at the base of the little tea light. So I kind of put them in at an angle to the left side. And I just go around and I do that on all 4 of the ends. And this gives it such a pretty festive look. I thought it needed something like a pop of color, so on the top there, I'm going to add a bunch of red berries that I had on a pick. And it's big enough to be able to glue it right there without falling in. So I'll attach it to the corners, the opposite corners of where the hanger was, and just kind of fill in any place I need to. Now, if you see that any of the pieces of the berries get white from being torn apart, just take a red marker and just dab on them, and that takes care of it. And now it looks good as new. What an easy, cute little ornament to make. Isn't that adorable? And it would just help light up your tree even more. That would look cute on a hanging swag as well. Let me know what you think. This is what the package looks like. So we'll just open it up, and actually we're going to be able to make all of these projects using less than 6 of them. I can't wait to show you how they all came out. I'm going to take one of the Dollar Tree napkin rings, these beautiful ornaments. I actually got these on sale. They were not $6.99. And then I've got these pipe cleaners. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start stringing the ornaments, just kind of alternating between the different ones onto the pipe cleaner. And I'm going to do that until I get a piece long enough to wrap around the napkin ring. And I'm going to hot glue that directly on to the napkin ring. I'm just going to keep gluing all the different places that are going to touch, just going slowly, wrapping it around. And once I get them all on there, I will twist that pipe cleaner around and secure it down. And that way, this is now attached to the pipe cleaner. We're going to make a gorgeous bauble ornament with a bunch of these little baby ornaments. And now I'm just going to start gluing them into the gaps between. I'm using hot glue because I wanted to make this quickly, but I would probably recommend you use a stronger glue and hot glue. That way, if it gets knocked around, they won't fall off. Although I did use a generous amount, so I think it's pretty secure. And now that I've got all the baubles on there, I think this is gorgeous. I did not do the back because I figured it'd just be facing forward on a tree. I'm going to cut off little teeny pieces of these kind of like pine, whatever, pics. And I'm just going to start hot gluing them in the little spots between some of the ornaments where there was a little more of a gap that, that I couldn't fill with another ornament. And this just gives it a really cool kind of, the baubles and the nature kind of aspect to it. And I just think it turned out beautiful. And I'm just going to keep doing this. And then if they're too long, I'll trim the ends off, just until it kind of looks the way I want it to look. It almost looks like it's a piece, like a branch from a tree that I added ornaments to in the end. That's kind of the look it ended up having. Rather than adding the greenery to the ornaments, it seems like the opposite. At least to me it does. You'll have to let me know if you think that too when you see the finished piece. Anyway, that is how cute it is. I added the little hanger with the pipe cleaner at the top and just kind of twisted that around and hot glued it and attached it. And this is not a heavy piece, just adding some more of the greenery just till it fills in, exactly the way I think it would look really good. I feel like this added so much more dimension and texture to the baubles, which otherwise it was just like all silver, and this greenery just really makes it pop. You have to let me know if you've ever seen anything like this or if you would like to try something like this. I do think it's beautiful, and I really, really think that you could make a bunch of these and put them on your tree. It would look gorgeous. For this project, I've got one Dollar Tree napkin ring, I've got a wood round that was an ornament, and then I've got these cute little bottle brush trees from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to use my heat tool and get rid of that hanger on the back of that wood slice. That was an ornament at one time, and I'm going to repurpose it now. So I just kind of scrape that off once I softened the glue. And then I'm going to take out the little trees and kind of position them how I think they would look cute on here. Now I'm going to take the napkin ring and I'm just going to put hot glue around the base of it. And again, you can use any kind of glue you want. And I'm going to create a riser. So we're going to use the napkin ring as the riser portion. I'm going to add some more hot glue on the inside just to reinforce it. This is going to be very secure because it's sitting on the napkin ring. We're not hanging anything from it. I'm going to take some white paint and I'm just going to lightly paint around the top and sides of this wood slice to make it look like snow. And I'm dabbing so that it's not like a perfect paint job because snow doesn't always lay perfectly flat. So again, just going around the edges and adding a little more of that white paint to create the snow-like feel and look. Once that dried, I'm going to put a generous amount of hot glue on the bottom of each of the bottle brush trees. I'm just going to attach them to the very top of the wood slice. You can use a stronger glue if you want. These do not weigh anything, and this is just going to be sitting, so I wasn't too concerned about it, but of course, do what you like. Isn't that cute already? I've got these little mini pine cones. I'm going to trim off the little stems on the bottom, and then I'm going to glue them right on to the front here. I just think pine cones, Christmas trees, I just love them together. You guys know I love my little mini pine cones. I have quite a collection too. Between Dollar Tree and different places, I just save them all, and I keep using them. Now I'm going to take a little piece of greenery. It's like a pine pick, I think. And I thought that green just looked beautiful. I'm going to take some burnt umber apple barrel paint just to paint the base of the trees in the brown because I didn't think it looked right that they were solid white. So I just went ahead and did that. And then I'm going to take a few of these berries and I'm just going to add them to the front for a pop of color. I didn't want to do too much, but I thought, you know, between the pine cones, the greenery, and the berries, that just really, really made this adorable. And I love it. I think this would be so cute on a little tiered tray or a shelf, or you could put a hanger around the bottom of it. But because I added the napkin ring, I do think it's really meant to be like a little mini riser. I love it. You'll have to let me know what you think. And is this something you might want to try? For this Dollar Tree napkin ring hack, I've got one napkin ring, and then I've got this ornament from the Dollar Tree. It's just a little wreath with a cardinal on it, which I thought was beautiful. It had a little plastic pine cone, so I took that off and I'm replacing it with a real mini pine cone. I just thought that would look so much nicer. Now I'm going to put hot glue all around one end of the napkin ring. Again, you can use any kind of glue you want. And I'm just going to attach this to the wreath. The reason I'm doing this is because I want to make a thicker, bigger kind of a wreath look. So I'm just going to start adding these pine pics all the way around and make a wider, bigger, thicker type of a wreath. So even though it was already a little mini wreath ornament, I just wanted to make it more substantial. And I'm absolutely loving how this is looking. And these pics just look so cute on here. And then I did end up, adding some other ones on there too, because I just wanted to give it more of an interesting look. So first these two that look similar to what's already on there. And again, I'm using hot glue. You don't have to. I'm also going to use these glitter branches. I've got the silver and the red. They also come in gold, but on this one, I thought the silver and the red would look really pretty because the cardinal's red and the napkin ring is silver, so I thought that would look good. I'm just going to add these on until they look the way I want. And I'll cut off some of the edges and add little pieces back, just kind of get it to a look that I think is super cute. This is very individual, whatever you like is just fine. I save all kinds of little pics and pieces from things, and then I put them in bags or containers. And then when I need things like this, I just pull them out. And it's amazing how far these things can go. Even if when you save these little teeny pieces, I end up using them. So I figure it's not hoarding because I'm using them and it works so well. So if you do it too, don't feel bad. So now I'm going to add some more greenery, just some more little pics to give, again, more texture, more interest. I didn't want it to be all the same. I'm going to take a green pipe cleaner. It's also from Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to take the end, wrap it around, and then I'm going to hot glue the rest of it around the back side of the napkin ring. And that is going to become our hanger. So you'll see here, as soon as I get the very edge of it all wrapped around itself, so it's very secure, I'm going to start hot gluing, and I'll just keep holding it till it dries. And then I'll reach around the side and put some more. And it's just a perfect built-in hanger. It's not going to come off because it's perfectly wrapped around the napkin ring. So it's very secure with the hot glue. Of course, feel free to use any kind of glue that you're comfortable with. And look, it's a perfect hanger. It's already curved just like one, and it will just go on any of the branches on your tree. And I think this is so cute. And I don't know about you, but I love cardinals, the male cardinals that are red. And people always say it's a loved one who has passed that's visiting you. And I think that's a very comforting thought. So let me know what you think of this one. For this Dollar Tree napkin ring hack, I'm going to use 2 of the napkin rings, and then I've got these cute little ornaments that are like stuffed, made with felt, and one is a sweater and one is a mitten. So I'm going to cut off the hangers. This is such an easy one, and we're going to actually use the napkin rings as napkin rings, okay? So we're going to hot glue each of those little ornaments right on. Now, to be honest with you, hot glue is perfect for this because it's felt. It's not going to go anywhere. So I'm just going to put one on the front of each of those napkin holders. It's already cute. You could even stop right now. I think this would be fine. But I took a couple of little evergreen picks and I cut off little teeny pieces and I just attached them around each of the little ornaments that I put on there. So just to add that fun little Christmas flair. I mean, you could make several of these. I just happen to only have 2 of these little felt ornaments. So I just made 2. And at home, it's just my husband and I. So that's fine. But you could make a whole bunch of these for when you have Christmas dinner or company over for some other reason during the holiday season. I think this would be even cute still in the winter or after Christmas. They're just really adorable little ornaments. I believe I got them both at the Dollar Tree. And look at this with the greenery. How easy is this? This could not be an easier little craft. Honestly, this would be fun to do with the kids and grandkids. What a fun project for them to be able to do. And then it would be on the dinner table and they would be so proud of the work they did. I just think that would be adorable. And then you'd have these for the future. And you could even hand them down to them and they'd remember. It would be such a perfect memory to have done this with you and your kids or grandkids. Anyway, always looking for fun holiday memories, things to share, because those kind of traditions and things are the things that people remember later in life. You don't remember the things you had, but you remember the experiences you had. And so this would be a bonding, just special experience, creating things together. I always encourage people to craft with their kids and grandkids and their family members, because there's so much joy in creating, and it's of course like therapy, but then you have the memory of doing it too, and it's just such a beautiful experience. So I don't know what motivates you to craft, but just doing something like that I think is a great motivation. So I'm adding some little glitter picks here that I've got just leftover pieces just to add a little more festive feel with the glitter on them. And that's all it really takes for these. They're super simple. Honestly, these could not be easier. It took me less than 10 minutes to make both of them. I love them. Look how adorable they turned out. You'll have to let me know what you think. And is this something you'd want to try? Now, don't judge. I didn't have any cloth napkins, so I just folded up some fabric. Anyway, you got to do what you got to do. Wrapping paper from the Dollar Tree, and it's kind of spiritual. It's about hope and just different things that make me think of the night of Jesus' birth. And then I've got this beautiful Star of Wonder greeting card and some scrapbook paper that I love and a Dollar Tree canvas. So I'm going to take some linen white Rust-Oleum chalk paint. I'm going to paint the canvas because we don't want that pattern to show through. I've also got some construction paper. I'm going to trace the shape of the canvas on it, and that'll be our backing. We're going to make a busted canvas. So we're just going to trim it so that it will fit perfectly on the back. Then we're going to use that as, a guide to draw the other squares we need of the 2 pieces of scrapbook paper, and we will cut those out. We are going to take this beautiful birchwood scrapbook paper and use a glue stick, and I'm just going to attach it to the piece of construction paper that I used. I just wanted to make sure that it was covered with something really pretty because that's going to be the background for this particular project. Now I'm going to fussy cut out the 3 wise men and the little town of Bethlehem there, and just kind of, and the Star of Wonder word, because I'm going to use some Mod Podge and attach that right over the birch. I just thought that would look really, really pretty. You can choose any scrapbook paper, designs, cutouts, whatever you want for something like this. This is an inspirational piece in multiple ways, but just to give you an idea how to do it. We're going to take the wrapping paper and we are just going to cut a piece that will fit on the inside there, because when we do the busted canvas and roll around the edges, you will see this paper and it's going to look really cool. So we'll just go ahead and lay some Mod Podge down and get that piece of wrapping paper in there. Just rub it down the best we can. We'll use a brayer and then we'll cut off the excess. Now we're going to take the piece that I put the birchwood scrapbook paper and the greeting card, and we're going to hot glue it face forward on the back, and I cut out a little notch for the hanger that was already on the canvas. Now we're going to cut out the last piece, which is the last piece of scrapbook paper we have. We'll just trace around the canvas itself and we'll cut that out. We're going to lay down some Mod Podge on the very top of the canvas and attach this piece. And I was going for kind of complementary, slightly contrasting patterns just to keep it interesting. We'll seal the top with some more Mod Podge. Now we're going to take our blade and carefully cut diagonally across and then across the sides, not all the way, because what we're going to do, instead of a crisscross busted canvas, we're going to do kind of just like 2 corners. I thought, so it looks like it's like rolling away to the sides only. I wanted to try that because I've done some other ones and I thought this would be really interesting. You do need to use a generous amount of hot glue. You could also use a more permanent glue to hold this down because they are larger pieces and they want to pop up. But I did get it to stay. I think this is so cute. I'm going to take some greenery I got from Amazon, but Dollar Tree sells different greeneries too that you could use for this season that I think would be beautiful. I'm going to add a cute little small pine cone there, and I'm going to do some more on the bottom on the opposite corner, and I just think that really adds a nice touch to this. And of course, add another little pine cone. And then on the other ends, I'm going to put these different pine picks that I got from Amazon just to kind of dress it up. I love how this turned out. I think it's so beautiful. And I also love that it depicts the real meaning of the season, which is the birth of the Savior. And I always like to make sure I include that in my crafts for Christmas. What do you think? Striped wrapping paper from the Dollar Tree, and then I've got some small craft sticks. These happen to already have colors on them, but of course you can use just the plain ones if you want. I'm going to be covering them for the most part, so it doesn't matter. I'm going to lay down some Mod Podge on the back of a piece of the wrapping paper and lay down each of these craft sticks. And these are the green ones that I happen to be using, but the reason I'm doing these is this is going to be to make a Christmas tree ornament. So I'm going to use my brayer on the front side to make sure it's adhered, and then I'm going to start trimming. And then I use just a small little sanding block to go around the edges and just make sure that everything is flush. And I just do it in a downward motion so that I don't lift any of the paper. Best to do it once it dries for sure. So you see how I'm just going around the edges, and then it's going to look like that wrapping paper was just always there on the craft stick. It's such a nice way to adhere any kind of paper to a surface. Now this particular craft is so easy, you could do it with kids, grandkids, and I wanted to show it because of the channel that I'm collaborating with, Let's Craft, does crafts that are super easy and fun like this. I'm just taking a straight edge and I'm drawing like a tree shape across them, and I'm going to take my miter shears, and obviously if you were doing this with kiddos, you would do this part. And I'm just going to cut wherever I drew a line, and this is going to shape the Christmas tree. And the top one is very small, but you just hold on to it, and then I'm going to start placing them in the shape of the tree. Then I'm going to take those red sticks, again, they don't have to be colored, that's just what I had handy, and I'm going to start hot gluing each little piece of the tree right down that craft stick, and I'm going to put a little gap between them, almost like it's planks, where there's that little space between. And I'll just keep going until we have the whole tree shaped. At some point, I'm going to need to add a second red craft stick so that, I can get all the pieces on there. And you'll see here in just a second how I'm going to do that. So I'm going to add a little bit of glue right at the end there. Put the next piece there, that's just to hold it temporarily. And then I'm going to continue placing my Christmas tree pieces all the way down. Now, once I have all those pieces on there, we'll turn it over and take another craft stick, and we're just going to put it over that seam. See what I'm doing right there? Just to make sure that it's very secure. And that's going to do the trick right there. Isn't that cute? I'm going to trim the stem because it was a little long, and I'm going to go ahead and sand that down. I'm going to sand all the edges very carefully now, and then I'm just going to add a little piece of ribbon. It was actually from a gift bag. It was the handle. I'm going to hot glue it on there, and that becomes the handle for the little Christmas tree ornament. Now, that was so fast and easy. Oh, and before I forget, I'm going to add Mod Podge over the top to seal it in. You could also do a spray like a polyacrylic if you wanted. I love this one. So easy, and how fun would this be to do with the kids in your life? Let me know what you think. I've got this gorgeous red black, white, and silver wrapping paper from the Dollar Tree, and then this silver charger also from the Dollar Tree. I love these chargers. They're so cute. Off camera, I cut out a circle that would fit in the center of the charger, and I'm just going to put some all-purpose spray adhesive on the back so that I can adhere that right to the center of the plate. And I'm sorry that you didn't get to see that. I thought the camera was on, and once in a while this happens, and it wasn't. So I'm just going to take that piece, and I'm just going to very carefully place it in the center. You can reposition. That's the nice thing about this spray adhesive. It's a very good adhesive, but it does let you reposition. And I'm just going to go ahead and just smooth that out. And then I'm going to add a hanger out of a piece of a mop head, because I think the white looks cute on there. Not that you're going to see it, but anyway, I just grabbed that one. Just going to do some hot glue and a little bit of masking tape to make sure it stays very secure on there. Now I'm going to take a bunch of greenery, some from Amazon, some from Dollar Tree. These green ones are from Amazon. I love these evergreen pics. I'm just going to make kind of like a swag at the very top. So, you know, whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. And then I found these beautiful sparkly greenery pics from the Dollar Tree. They're just so perfect for winter and Christmas. And this particular piece, because it's snowflakes, is going to be great for winter and Christmas. I've got this bell ornament from the Dollar Tree with all these little mirror pieces on it. I think it's gorgeous. I love it. And I'm just going to hot glue the hanger to the back so that it's on there. And then I'm going to add some more little sparkly pics to cover up where I attached it there. And just so you can't see that. I'm going to add some red berries just to kind of spice it up a little bit and just give it that pop of color to match the color in the center of the charger. This is such a simple thing to do, but it comes out beautiful. You could hang this on your door, on the wall, whatever you want. I think there's a lot of different wrapping papers that would look good with something like this as well. And they also have gold chargers, so you could try that too. Anyway, I love this, and you will have to let me know what you think about this, and would you like to try this one? I've got this cute snowman wrapping paper from the Dollar Tree, and then I've got from my protein, collagen, peptides that I take every day. I save these big containers because I feel like you could use them for something. So I'm just going to cut out the wrapping paper to be able to cover around the entire container. This would be a great container to put Christmas cookies in and give it as a gift. So luckily the label just pulled right off. I'm going to use my all-purpose spray adhesive, and I'm just going to start spraying the side of this container. And I'll just carefully go around, and like I said, luckily you can reposition this, so that is a nice thing. But I'll just go as slow as possible and just kind of rub it around, and then I'm going to cut off the excess on the side. And then we're also going to cut off a bunch of that excess for the bottom, and then I'll take a sanding sponge and go around in a downward motion and just cut off the excess. And then I used an X-Acto blade to cut off any excess around the top, and it just came out perfectly. I'm going to use a mop head and take some pieces. I'm going to hot glue them around the bottom edge there where the wrapping paper meets the container. And then also at the top where the wrapping paper meets the container, just to kind of add that little snowy festive look, you know, since there's snowmen on there. You don't have to put cookies, you know, in this. You could put anything you want. I just thought it was so cute, and because it's something you already have, if you save things like this, you could use it. I'm also going to put spray adhesive on the top of this container and put some more of the wrapping paper. I'll use my brayer to secure it, and again with the sanding sponge, go in a downward motion around the edges and make a nice clean piece. Just make sure I get all the little excess. I'm going to add one more piece of that mop from the Dollar Tree around the top there on the lid, just to kind of tie it together with what I did on the bottom. This is so easy, and you could use any wrapping paper you want. And this one I just thought was so fun and festive. Dollar Tree had so many different kinds. And in the plus section, they had thicker rolls and like multiples in container for you to buy. And there it is. It's so cute. Now, I thought it needed one more thing. So I've got this ribbon from the Dollar Tree that has little presents on it. And it's just red and white, and it's really pretty. And that was a perfect width to go right on the lid of this container. So I just hot glued it all the way around, cut off the excess. And then I've got my nice little trim around around the lid, and that just did it for me. I thought that was just the perfect way to finish this off. You could put something on top. I didn't feel like I needed to. I am going to spray it with the clear glaze all around to keep that paper nice and sealed. Let me know what you think. I actually think for something so simple, it turned out really, really cute. We're going to take 17 spoons, and I've got this bamboo hoop from the Dollar Tree that I had used previously, and now I'm just going to paint it white to neutralize it. And there it is. Now we're going to take these spoons and my tin snip, which I got on Amazon. It's a great tool. And we are going to cut just a little part of the handle off, actually most of the handle off. And I'm going to measure the rest of them using the one I cut first, and I'm going to cut them all down. Depending on the size of your hoop will determine how many spoons you actually need to use. Now that I've got them all cut, we're going to start placing them with hot glue around the bamboo hoop. So first we'll put down the big part of the spoon, and then that little end there will also secure it. And we're just going to keep doing that all the way around, and we'll glue the next one right at the end of the previous one. And again, just continuing all the way around and just holding it till it dries so they don't slide off. So there they are. Now there are big gaps between them, so we're going to take some more spoons and we're going to cut off the entire handle, and we're just going to place each of those little spoon pieces in between them, and I'm going to leave one with a gap because that'll be like the top of the wreath, so I wanted to have a little more space to work with there. So there they are, all on there except one, like I said, where I left a little gap at the top. I'm going to take these evergreen picks from Amazon, and I'm just going to cut off the small side pieces on these. That's all we're going to use. We won't use the larger middle piece. We'll save that for something else. I'm going to hot glue one little piece into each of the spoons and go all the way around and do that. Then I'm going to take some poinsettia picks that I got at the Dollar Tree. I'm going to remove all of the pieces until I get down to the bare minimum, which is just the petals. But we'll save the center pieces. We'll see what we're going to do with that in a little bit. I'm going to cut off 2 petals at a time. So there are actually 6 petals, so you get 3 pieces. I'm going to cut off enough of those to place them right over each of those greenery pieces on this wreath. And I'll just use hot glue to secure them in there. So there they are, all in there, except for that center piece where we're going to use as the top. I've also got these gold greenery picks from the Dollar Tree. We're going to cut off several pieces and hot glue it right around that inner circle, on the bamboo ring. I just wanted to add a really pretty pop of gold there. I thought that would look beautiful. So we'll just finish that off all the way around the circle. I'm going to take a pipe cleaner and put it in that place where I had a gap, wrap it around, and twist it into itself and make a hanger. Now I'm going to take this adorable pine cone, and I'm just going to hot glue it right in that gap over where I put the hanger on. And now remember those little pieces that were the center of the poinsettia flowers? We're going to take 6 of them, and we're going to put 3 on the bottom and 3 on the top of the pine cone. And that's just going to kind of add a little more color and finish that off. And this spoon wreath has turned out so cute. It is so easy to make, and talk about a really unique and fun piece. I really love how it turned out. I was going to spray paint it at first, and then I decided, nah, I think that white actually adds a nice accent. So let me know what you think. For this project, we're going to use 15 spoons, and I'm also going to add in 10 forks. I thought that added a little more interest to this one. We're going to make a snowflake hanger. So first thing we're going to do is take 2 forks, and we're going to hot glue them crisscross together right at the base of the forked part. So we'll do that with all of the forks. Now we're going to take them and we're going to create a snowflake shape. So it's like a star almost if you look at the middle portion of it. And I'm just kind of figuring out where I want them. It's really hard to get it perfect because they kind of wiggle around a little. But in the end, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's a snowflake. It can be whatever you want. Now I'm going to hot glue each of those little ends together to create that star piece. And the key here is to position it while it's still wet and then let it dry before you do anything else to it, because otherwise it can move around. And I'm going to add a little more hot glue over each of those intersections on top just to secure it even more. Now we're going to take the spoons. I'm going to take one full spoon and then take 2 additional ones and just cut off the rounded part. And we're going to hot glue it to the back so that it's still facing forward, but you see what I'm doing here? I'm just attaching them on the back, and then I'll add a little more hot glue over that just to secure it. And I'm going to make several of those to fit in those gaps in between. So now that we have those, we're going to glue the end of the long spoon into that intersection of the forks. And we'll do that all the way around. And this is what creates our really fun snowflake pattern. And I think this is so cute. I mean, I could have done the whole thing with spoons or the whole thing with forks, but I think mixing them really made it look good. And I'm going to add some more hot glue on the intersections again, just to secure it. Now you could leave this white if you want, but I decided that it would be fun to paint it. So first thing I'm going to do is I want to secure all those intersections. So I'm going to take a pipe cleaner, wrap it around, and just kind of go around all of those little intersections where the spoon meets the forks. I feel like it needs a little extra stability. So I'll do that in each of those intersections. Then I'm going to add a hanger before I go out and paint it. I'm going to use another pipe cleaner, twist it around, and secure it. I'm going to go outside with this metallic finish silver paint. What's funny is now they look like regular utensils. Anyway, I'm going to take some spray adhesive and some Epsom salts that I got, and I'm just going to sprinkle the Epsom salts over it, and it'll make it look like it's got like snow glistening on it. And I'll do that over the top of the whole thing, all of the end pieces, and then that center star area as well. And I think this is just a really fun way to create snow, and it's not nearly as messy as some of the fake snow that's out there. In fact, I was able to keep most of it on my paper, which was great. And now I'm doing that center section, adding some more spray adhesive and the more of the Epsom salts. And I think this turned out so cute. It's very unique. You won't see one just like it probably, but that's the fun part, is that you could make something really unique using these spoons and forks. What do you think? We're going to take 5 of the spoons, and then I've got this cute little bucket. I got it at IKEA, but Dollar Tree has buckets that are similar. I'm going to take a paint marker, and I'm just going to do this beautiful blue, like kind of 2 stripes all the way around. Then I'm going to take a mop head, and I'm just going to line the very top and bottom of these blue lines and just hot glue that all the way around. Kind of wanted to give it that cute little snow sort of festive feel. And once I get to the end, I will just cut off any excess. Now I'm going to take a white paint marker, and I'm just going to go right in the center there and fill in that gap. I just thought that made it look really nice. Now I'm going to take a black marker, and I'm going to make little snowman faces on each of the back side of the spoons. I'm going to make them all look just a little bit different smiles, and their eyes may be placed a little bit differently. And you could do anything you want. They could all look the same, whatever you like. A lot of times I just look at pictures of things to get ideas of how to make little faces and things like that. Next, I'm going to take an orange paint marker, and I'm just going to make little noses on all of them. I'm going to take this microfiber cloth, and I'm just going to cut out a piece. And what I'm going to do this separately to each of them, is create a little hat and then a little scarf. So I'm going to use ribbons, I'm going to use fabric, I'm going to use twine, all different things. You could use whatever you want just to make each of them different. And then I'm going to take this twine and tie around the top just to kind of give the hat a cute little look. And that's just, something that you could just make up anything you want to create little hats and little scarves for these. And I'll just tie a bow on there, and then I'm going to take that little teeny tiny piece of glittery greenery there, and I'm going to glue it right to the center of the bow. Next, I'm going to take a container of glue, and I'm just going to wrap this twine around a bunch of times. And the reason I'm doing this is that I want to create a scarf that is a little different. So I'm just going to cut it off. Once I do that, I'll pull it off, and I'm just going to kind of twist it and put the spoon right in there. And I'm going to hot glue the top part to the little spoon and also on the back. And this is just kind of like making a different type of a scarf. I was just going for different things for each of these that I'm going to do. Now, once I get that glued on, I'm just going to go ahead and cut through the loops, and then I'll trim them down so they're not quite so long and scraggly. And there you go. Now I've got a cute little scarf. And I'm going to do a bunch of different things. You can see them there with the ribbons and so forth. Now I'm going to take some little peppermint candies from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to unwrap them, and I'm just going to hot glue them all the way around where I had done the paint markers. I just thought that looked so pretty to add that with the blue and the white. I'm going to put all the rest of the peppermints in there, and then I'm just going to stick the little spoon snowman in there. And I just think it looks so cute. Like, what a fun little decor item. It's almost like it's, you know, a floral arrangement, but a snowman arrangement. Anyway, this was so easy. You could do this with the kids, grandkids, and it would be so fun to make. Let me know what you think. Dollar Tree spoon hack, we're just going to take one spoon, and I'm going to cut out a piece from a napkin. Now I did remove the plies. I used a little piece of tape to pull them off. I'm going to add some Mod Podge, and I'm just going to place the part of the napkin that I want to show on the front over that, and then I will turn it around, and I will add some more Mod Podge and attach it. And then I'm just making sure that it's attached, and I'm going to kind of start pulling off excess. So there we go. I'll also secure the back. Now, the tricky part of this is that I should have dried it before I tried to get rid of the ends, and it caused a little bit of problem. So note to self and to anyone else, before you try to rip off the excess, let it dry first. And that was my problem. So now I'm just going to cover the whole thing in Mod Podge, and then I will go around and rip off those pieces. And boy, was it sticky and gooey. And like I said, I should have waited. Anyway, I'm going to cover the whole thing and the edges in some more Mod Podge, and you can see there's some little gaps there. But before I deal with that, I'm going to cut another piece of the napkin just so I can place it on the bottom of the spoon and just cover that up. Now this time I got a little smarter, and I decided to be more careful about how I dealt with it. So I did get my heat tool out, and I dried everything that was wet so that I could continue working without ruining it. And here I am just kind of ripping off the little excess of the napkin on the handle. I'm going to go ahead and cover the edges and all around in Mod Podge to make sure everything is laying down nicely. And there it is so far, but I didn't like those little gaps where it moved around. So I took a black marker and I just filled them in. And to be honest with you, I think it looks great. It almost made it look like I didn't do anything wrong at all, but just make sure you let it dry first. I'm going to add a cute little pine cone right in the center of the spoon there, or towards the bottom of the spoon. And then these cute little glittery pics I have, I'm just gonna add several pieces of those just to give it that little shiny kind of Christmassy feel. I've got this little black rope. I'm just gonna add it to the very top there. I will loop it around, trim off the excess, and hot glue the rest right down. And that's gonna be the hanger for this little ornament. It's so cute. I'm going to take these silver berries on a pick from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to add some right over where I have the hanger just to kind of make that look super pretty. And I'm going to add 3 little silver berries right at the top of where I put the other picks. Just, you know, for fun and interest. I love that shiny look for like Christmas trees and things like that. And here it is, all finished. I think it's adorable and so easy. Let me know what you think. Wild and Free 2025 monthly calendar, and there are so many cute months in this calendar. I'm going to take the December 2025 page and this sign from the Dollar Tree that has 3 different planks on it, and I'm going to cut out some of the words. But first, I'm going to sand off the glitter. Gosh, you guys, that with Dollar Tree and that glitter, I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to take my burnt umber paint from Apple Barrel, just an acrylic paint you can get at Walmart, and I'm just going to paint over it. I'm not too worried about like great coverage or if there's a little, raised up part there where the glitter was. I just didn't want the actual glitter on there. I painted the back too and the post itself. Now I'm going to just carefully cut out a few of the words, actually 3 of the words on this calendar page, because we're going to make a cute little signpost for Christmas time. This will also be really cute, even I think, into the winter. I don't think it has to come down after Christmas. So just cut them out very carefully, and I'm going to trim them even a little further before I use them. So we picked mistletoe, snowflakes, and deck the halls. If you had a cutting machine, of course you could do this. You don't need a calendar, but I like doing the calendars. I'm going to take some white paint over the top of that and just kind of messy paint over the top of it because I want to see some of that brown showing through so it looks like wood grain, and that really works well. I'm going to use some Mod Podge, and I'm just going to attach each of those words to the signs the best way that they'll fit. And if you notice, on that calendar page, it looks like they're on wood planks, those words. So it ends up matching, and I am going to, work on that with a little more paint just to make that blend even more. And when we're all done, I feel like it really looks like it's part of the sign. So now we're on to the last one, and you can attach it with any kind of glue you want. I just decided to use the Mod Podge. I'm also going to put the Mod Podge over the top to make sure that this is sealed. I'm going to cut off any excess by turning it over on a cutting mat and just using a blade. Now I'm going to dry brush that burnt umber color. So just put a little on your brush, wipe most of it off, and kind of drag it across until it looks like the whole thing is just one continuous piece. That was my goal here. I've got some really cute evergreen pics that I got from Amazon, and this kind of stuff is pretty much always in my Amazon store if you're interested in getting the same thing. And that link's in my description box below. Anyway, I'm just going to glue that on there until I think it looks nice. I'm going to put it in a couple of spots. I just want to kind of dress this little sign up. I'm picturing it as something you would see just sitting out in the woods somewhere, or like when you first get to a place, what's going on? Where do you go? Which direction? Now there aren't arrows, but it's just the fun of it. And I added some really pretty red berries that came off of other pics that I had in my stash. And that's all I did to this one. It's so cute. It even has a hanger if you didn't want to put it in the ground, but you could do it either way, and I love it. Let me know what you think. The montage, actually it's the 2024 calendar, and I hadn't even opened it, but it's so cute. And the one for December has a really cute picture of this Christmas tree. I'm actually going to use the piece from the back because it's smaller, and we're going to use that little camera from the Dollar Tree. I'm sure we've all seen those and go, what are we going to do with this thing, right? Well, I came up with an idea. So I'm going to cut the picture out so it's small enough to fit on that circle that goes inside the camera. I'm going to use some lacquer chalk paint, which is just red, and I'm going to tape off some areas, and I'm going to put the red just where I want it. Now, obviously, you can paint this with any color scheme you want. I went with like red and green and black, kind of making it more Christmassy. So that's where I painted the red on the edges too. I'm going to pull off the tape, and yeah, if it got on anything else, I just touched it up. Then I'll take the fern color, which is basically green, and I started doing it, around the edges there. I did tape that up too. I tried to be really careful around the curved parts because I just didn't want to mess with the tape. And actually that worked out pretty well. You just go nice and slow with a small art brush, and then you just touch up anything you want. I did add some white to the top, and now I'm going to use a black marker, and I tried taping off the black marker. It did not work very well. So I would say don't tape it off. Just be careful when you draw because it bleeds underneath. And I'm not sure why a marker bleeds, but the paint didn't. But anyway, note to self, don't tape off lines like that unless you're using paint. So I just cleaned them up like I'm doing here with a little bit of a wider marker, and I was real slow and went steady as best I could. And actually that worked better. So just, there you go. Just be careful when you do it and go slow. After I finished all of the lines, I'm going to go into that round part and just fill that whole thing in. I'll go real carefully around the curve, and then I can just, fill in all the rest. Like I said, going slow is the trick here. It makes all the difference, and kind of steadying your hand, on the edge of it. If I tried to do it with lifting my hand, there's no way I could have done it. I would have been all over the place. So if you feel like, how could I do this? Just kind of steady the rest of your hand. So there it is. And I'm just finishing the last of the lines that I wanted. I'm going to use a paint marker and just draw like where the little flash and those kind of things are. I was looking at a picture of a camera, of course, and I wasn't going for perfection, but I did outline that also in black just to make it look more finished. Now I'm just going to trim off little teeny edges of the picture so it's not a perfect square. I did paint that piece that goes in the background red also. I did that off camera. And now I'm just going to glue that piece on, and then you put the little clear round piece over it and you put the camera back together. Honestly, it was so fun to paint this camera. I've done one before. I made it look like a real black camera. This was years ago. I'm going to dress it up a little. I've got this cute little bow I got from Walmart that was already made. And then I'm going to trim the edge of a little baby pine cone, and I'm going to put that right in the center of the bow. I love using little baby pine cones. I just think they're so cute, and it kind of brings the outdoors in, and it just makes it feel very wintry. I love that feel. I'm going to fluff my bow, trim the edges a little to make sure it's not too big for this little teeny camera piece. And that's it. This came out adorable. I love it. It would look so cute on a tier tray or a shelf, or if you wanted to hang it, you could make it an ornament. Let me know what you think. I've got the 2025 Count It All Joy calendar, and we are going to use this picture that is actually from December, but we're going to use the larger picture this time. I'm just going to cut that out. I've also got some stencils from Chalk Couture that are so cute. I'm just going to use a small portion of this larger one. I'm going to cut that piece out. And then I've got this leftover kind of paneling piece that I got from the hardware store for free. They had like a free pile. So the first thing we're going to do is add a hanger. So I'm just going to take some big rope from Dollar Tree. It's the larger nautical rope. We'll glue that on and then use a little bit of tape and also attach that. I used some, not masking tape this time, but like duct tape kind of thing. It's just much more strong of a hold. And then I'm going to fussy cut around this sled that's on the calendar page because I really liked it and I thought it would look so cute if I did that. So it took a few minutes, but just carefully used a blade on my cutting mat and cut that out. Now I'm going to take some Mod Podge, and on the left side of this piece, I'm just going to attach that cute little sled that I cut out. And I think it looks really nice on that kind of paneling background. And I'll also put a layer over the top to seal that in really well. I love how that looks. Now I'm going to take the piece of the stencil that I cut out. It says, "Welcome to our Christmas cottage." And I really like that. And I'll make sure it's on there really well. I'm going to use several different colors of paint. I'll just get that all on there. And once I have all the colors in all the places that I want, then I will just pull off the stencil. And I used mostly just red, green, black, and white for this one. But you could pick any color scheme you want. And there it is, so beautiful. I absolutely love using these stencils. They are fun. I'll take a blade and I'll just cut through that part where there's like already a line in the paneling, and I'll just cut off the piece of the calendar there and seal the whole thing with a clear glaze. So now I've got some evergreen pics that I got from Amazon. I'm just gonna tie two together like a little swag. I'm gonna use some twine. I've got a cute little pine cone. I'm just gonna attach that right to the center, and I'm gonna attach that at the top. I added a couple of poinsettias on there just for color and to dress up my evergreen pics. And then I went around the edge with like a little spatula kind of thing, and I roughed them up because I already had a couple rough edges. So I figured, why not rough them all up? And then it would look nice, like that. That's how it was supposed to be. So I just went around all the edges that didn't have that already, and that's it. I love how this turned out. You'll have to let me know what you think. This is one of my favorites today. Wings of Wisdom 2024 calendar, and it is a beautiful calendar. If you have this in your stash, you definitely want to pull it out. I hadn't used it yet, and I found this gorgeous piece picture for December, and I thought, what a non-traditional thing to do around Christmas. However, I also thought this would be beautiful for Hanukkah. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I think this could be just gorgeous. So I'm just going to cut around the circle, and then I'm going to take a blade on a cutting mat, and I'm going to fussy cut around all of those little flower petals. And I do have that gold charger from the Dollar Tree we're also going to use. This is such an easy piece to make. So once I fussy cut everything out, just put on a video, take your time. I use some Mod Podge, and I just put it on the center part of the plate first. And then I'm going to position the calendar piece on there. And then I'll go back around and get all those little petals. I wanted to be really careful because I didn't want to break them off. So now I'm just doing the top. I went over the whole thing. And I think this goes so well with the gold charger. Don't you agree? I mean, that is just beautiful. I did take some saran wrap. This is one of those tricks you can use when you're Mod Podging. And I took my brayer and I went over the top. And if you don't have a brayer, you could also use your fingers, but this way you don't get sticky. Now you have to make sure it doesn't dry, otherwise you'll pull off some of the calendar. And then I took some rubbing alcohol and a paper towel and I cleaned off all the excess. I've got several different ribbons here. These were all in my stash. So just look through your stash when you're wanting to make a ribbon, see if you have anything that would match. And I'm just going to cut several pieces. I'm going to dovetail the ends because we're going to make a cute little messy bow. So basically what we'll do is we'll have a couple pieces of each type of ribbon, and I'll make sure that the lengths are similar when I cut them out. We'll crisscross them. We'll tie them in the middle and then knot that off on the back, and that creates a messy bow. And then you can embellish it any way you want. So here are the different ribbons that I chose. I love the pink and the blue together. I think it looks beautiful and it goes so well with this calendar page. So there I am, just cinching the middle and tying it off with some twine. And of course, we are going to fluff our bow quite a bit. We'll cut off that excess twine, and then we're going to hot glue it right to the top center of this charger. And oh my gosh, I love the way this looks. And then I have this little scatter foam from Dollar Tree. It's a gold star, and I thought it worked perfectly on this. I'm going to add some evergreen pics. Some of these are from Dollar Tree. A lot of the ones I have are from Amazon, but these with the glitter are from Dollar Tree. And they just looked so good on here with the gold glitter because the charger was gold. And I thought that was just perfect. Then I cut some little pieces just to kind of fill in along the bottom. I just wanted to add a little more greenery. I turned it over. I probably should have done this first, but luckily it wasn't too busy on the front. I added a hanger with some hot glue and twine and some tape like I usually do. And this one is done. This would be gorgeous on the front door, or if you had a huge wreath in the center of the wreath, or just to hang on the wall somewhere. I think it's beautiful. You'll have to let me know what you think of this one. Plush throw, and it was $5 at Dollar Tree Plus section. And then I've got this cute little piece here that was in the wood section of the Crafter Square at Dollar Tree. And I've got a little snowman ornament also from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to cut out a piece of this plush throw where it says "Let It Snow." I'm going to make sure that I, put that right over the top so I know where to cut. I'm going to cut kind of around it first, and then I'll do a better cut afterwards. I just want to make sure I have a smaller piece to work with to start. These plush throws are so large you could make so many things out of them, besides using it, of course, as a throw. So now I'm just going to take some Beacon Fabric Tack glue, and I'm going to put it on one side all around the edges. I like to do things like this kind of in sections, and then I'll just make sure it's all over there, and I'll lay down that first side. And then we'll lift up the other side and do the exact same thing and attach it with the Beacon Fabric Tack glue. I'm going to take my brayer and just try to make sure it's even adhered better than using my hands. Now I'm going to take my scissors and very carefully go around and trim. I tried to do it with the X-Acto knife. It just kind of pulled on the throw, so I thought it actually worked better with the scissors. So there it is, nice and trimmed. And we are going to take a mop head and a little piece of that, and we're actually going to line around the edges so it didn't have to be perfect. It was just so much easier to do this. Plus, I love that pop of white because it kind of brings out the white in the little throw piece that we've got on there. And I'm just using hot glue to attach that all the way around. I'm going to take this little snowman ornament. I'm going to snip off the hanger part because we really don't need that for this one. I'm going to put a generous amount of hot glue right on the back, and I'm just going to position him on this piece. I thought that was so cute for it to say, let it snow, have snowflakes, and then have a little snowman on there. I've got this beautiful kind of sparkly, snowy greenery from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to start adding some little pieces here and there around the snowman. And I just thought that added such a nice touch to put that on there. It was so shiny like the snowman, and I thought it looked good. I'm also going to add some little red berries just for, that pop of color over there. And then add a little bit more going down, almost like a little swag. This is so cute, and it was so easy. It came together so quickly. You'll have to let me know what you think. I just love this one. I think it's fun. I'm going to use both the different plush throws that I got. I have that red one with the snowflakes, and then I've got a white one with Christmas trees on it. And then I found these blocks at a thrift store a while back, and I thought, oh, I've got a great idea for them. We're going to make some fake presents and wrap them with these throws. I thought that would be so pretty. So I'm just going to figure out about what, it's just like wrapping paper. Just figure out about how much I need to cover this up, and I will cut that out. And I'm going to do that for all 3 of the blocks. And of course, 2 are square and 1 is rectangle. That's just what I had. You could do whatever you want. And you don't have to use wood blocks. You could use any other kind of shape blocks that you want. So I'm going to do a couple of them in the green and 1 in the red. Now I'm just kind of trimming because I had some funny edges from previous projects. And I'm going to start wrapping them just like you would wrap a present. But I'm going to use hot glue. And this would be easy to take off if you needed to at another time if you want to use the blocks for something else. And then I'll cut off the excess on the sides and just wrap it like a present. And I'll use the hot glue every step of the way to wrap this. If you are enjoying this video, I hope you will share it with friends and family who might like it also. That is one of the best ways you can help and support my channel, and I appreciate it so much because I've got the nicest people who watch this channel. Honestly, I'm just convinced of it more and more every time I read your comments. It's so fun, and I love how you talk to each other too. I mean, consider that this is a group of crafting besties, and we just have so much fun, and we all have so much in common. So definitely reach out, say hi to each other. If you agree with something someone says, let them know, like their comments, that kind of stuff, and be sure to share with your friends. Now we're going to add some of these ribbons that Dollar Tree had for Christmas that were so pretty. And I'm going to make some bows and just add some extra color to them and add some bells. I'm even making an extra little couple loops out of the gold one, and I'll just like glue that right to the top. It'll be so fun. And so you could set these out as decor. You could put them under your tree. They could go up on a shelf, wherever you need just some pop of color kind of thing that's very festive and fun for the season. I love adding bells to things. They're just so fun. And now this other one, I'm going to use a smaller Dollar Tree ribbon because I thought it would be nice to have them looking a little bit different. And we'll just go ahead and tie a nice bow on that as well. With the one-sided ribbons, you just have to be careful to make sure that the part that has a pattern is showing. And then here's the last one, just adding a red ribbon from Dollar Tree. And of course, always fluffing the bows. And I'm going to add another bow on top of this one with the green mesh and just hot glue that right in there so that way we've got color and another bell. And now I've got these other cute little round ornaments from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to add this to the red gift. I thought that just matched so perfectly, and I'm going to add a teeny bit of greenery as well, just to, make it a little bit more fun and festive, and some glittery gold branches. So now we've got 3 cute little wrap presents that are great for decor. Look how cute, and they're soft like the plush throw that they're made out of. Let me know what you think. Now, because I've got all this plush throw fabric, of course I had to make a pillow. So I'm using the white one with the green Christmas trees on it. And I've got this pillow that just doesn't match any of my stuff anymore. So instead of getting rid of it, I'm just going to cover it. And I'll make a permanent cover. I don't need to do a temporary one on this one. I don't mind at all. So I'm going to figure out how much I need and trim down the sides so that I have just enough to work with. You can also make one that's removable, and that is definitely an option. I just chose to do it this way. Now I'm going to start gluing some of the sides to the pillow just to hold it in place. I'm also going to get rid of the big end seams that were on the throw because we don't need those thicker pieces. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm going to position the pillow on there, wrap it around nice and taut, and then I'm going to get my hot glue, and you can use fabric tack glue if you want. I just like hot glue for quickie things like this. I'm not too worried about it. And I'm going to start securing it so that we've got at least a nice base for building this pillow cover. And we'll do the same thing on the other sides. Now, once we get all the sides on, we'll continue to trim it down, and we'll fold in each of the ends and make a seam out of it, and then we'll attach the pieces together. You see how I'm making like a little hem on the edge here? We'll do that wherever we need to clean up an edge. We'll just make a hem using hot glue. Pillows are expensive these days, so if you just wanted to have something for, the season, you're not too worried about how fancy it is. This turns out really cute, and with the plush throw on it, it's nice and cuddly and soft. I really like it. So now we're just going to attach the end piece here right over the edge and make it a nice clean seam. And I'll go back and secure if there's any spots that weren't really hitting, as nice as I wanted them to. It's very easy to go back and fix that. Now we're going to do this around all of the edges that were left open. And here I am just finishing it up with the last little pieces that needed to be sealed. And there it is. Look how cute and cuddly this pillow is. I'm afraid one of my dogs is going to take it over because she loves blankets like this. Well, I'm hoping maybe I get to hold it once in a while. Anyway, I love how easy it was and how it turned out. Let me know what you think. I'm going to use this red snowflake plush throw that I got from the Dollar Tree Plus section and this beautiful kind of mirrored vase. I believe that's also from the Dollar Tree from quite a while ago. I'm going to measure a piece that would go all the way around and just kind of cut off an edge of that. This has got to be one of the easiest projects ever. I'm just going to cut like a rectangular shape that would fit across that center flat area of the vase. So see how I'm positioning it so I can see exactly where to cut. And then I'm going to hot glue that all the way around. And this is almost like creating a little cozy for this vase, but it's just for fun because it's just going to look so festive during the season. So we'll hot glue that all the way around and then cut off any excess. I'm using hot glue for this because I really just couldn't think of any reason why it wouldn't be the best option. It was fast, easy, and it sticks perfectly. Plus, if you ever wanted to change this out, it does come off with heat. So there it is. And now I'm going to take this cute little wreath ornament with a cardinal in it from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to get rid of that hanger, and I'm going to hot glue it right on the center there of this little cozy that we've made. I'm going to add some little frosty pics around it just to kind of make it even more beautiful and interesting. Little teeny pieces is all I'm going to do, because this is a very small little wreath. You could embellish this any way you want or not at all if you just like the ornament or a different ornament, whatever you want. There's so many options for what you could put on this. I love the way this is looking. I think it's so cute. I'm going to add some red berries as well because I felt like I added a bunch of those pics and I needed to bring back a little bit of the color. So I'm just going to put those right at the top. I thought that would be super cute just to kind of draw a little bit of attention to the top of the wreath. There were a couple of spots that I thought it just needed something more to cover something up, so that's what I did. And that is it. That's all there is. You don't even have to do as much as I did. I just really love how it turned out. And I added some berries for just showing you the reveal, but you could put whatever you want in here. I think it's beautiful. Let me know what you think. Beautiful stocking at the Dollar Tree. I thought it was so cute. And then I've got this thrifted sign that was about $5.97. I love the one side in All Things Give Thanks, so I will save that and let's just use the back this time. And of course, we will create a two-sided sign. I'm just going to remove the extra staples that were on the back and the labels, and then I'm just going to kind of give it a nice sanding, and I'll also sand off the price. I tried everything to remove it. It would not go away. Anyway, I'm going to get rid of the stickiness with the Goo Gone as well. And yes, I tried all the usual things to get rid of that price on there, and it wouldn't come off. I'm going to take a chippy brush and I'm going to take a little bit of my Antique Wax chalk paint by Waverly, and I'm just going to lightly distress around the outside edges and also over the edges of those planks, and then just kind of all around. I just want to give it an overall distressed look. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, but I decided I think that would look really cute for what I'm doing. Now I'm going to take the stocking, and it does have a piece of cardboard inside. I'm going to leave it in there to keep it a little bit stiff, and I'm going to start gluing it to the parts where it touches so that it's on there nice and securely. I'll do the bottom, and then I'll do the top, and then I'll also do some along the sides. I just want to make sure it stays right where it is. You can use any kind of glue you want. I think hot glue is fine for this. It dries quickly and it works perfectly. I've got a bunch of Christmas pics. I've got some white flowers. They've got the pretty green leaves. I've got something with pine cones, and then I've got some berries. And I'm just going to start arranging them. But before I do that, I realized I want to stuff the stocking. I've got some scraps from a microfiber towel that I had used for another project, and I'm just going to put that inside. Just kind of gives it more of that three-dimensional feel, which I really like, you know, as if there's something in the stocking. And now I'm just going to start arranging all of the different flowers, greenery, berries, you know, the whole thing. And this is just individual, whatever you like. You could use any type of pics that you like. You could go more sparkly than I did. You could do it more red, you know, whatever. I just thought I'd add the white and the red and the pine cones. I thought that was a nice contrast. And I just do this until it looks the way I like it. And that's all that really matters, is you're making it or you're gifting it or whatever you're doing with it, and you just need to be happy with how it is. I've got these very beautiful gold sparkly pics from Dollar Tree. I'm going to add some of these on either end and just kind of, you know, as a little pop of festivity, whatever. I thought that was really pretty. I didn't want to overdo that, but I also felt like a little bit of it was just perfect. Now, I am so happy with how this turned out, and of course, I love that it's two-sided, and it was really quick and easy to make, so let me know what you think. got this kind of wheel wreath form, and then I've got these little foam gingerbread shapes. I had a wonderful friend send me some puffy paint because I had been mentioning that I hadn't gotten any, and I am so excited. Thank you so much for sending it, and I love it. This was a lot of fun. Now, this is a learning curve. I did a lot of big blotches while I was learning, but anyway, it was still so much fun, and it was just perfect timing so I could make these little gingerbread men and women, and I just looked at a picture to kind of decide what I was going to draw on it. Anyway, it's just like I said, first time using puffy paint, so I wasn't perfect at it by any means, but it was sure fun to do. And I just made little skirts on the girl ones because I thought that would make it very obvious. And then I put kind of like a bow instead of a bow tie up by their like neckline. So cute. For me, this was the hardest part, was getting like an even flow to come out while I was making the shapes. But I think that's just something that you would get better with, with more practice. Now we're going to go back to the wreath form, and I've got this deco mesh. I've got red and white, and it's got little sparkles in it. And I'm just going to make a very simple wreath out of this. I'm going to put them together as I use them. I'm going to use pipe cleaners to attach them. So I'm going to take a little bit, I'm going to leave about 1.5 inches on the end there, and I'm just going to start attaching it. And I'm going to kind of go like every 2 rungs of the wheel, or spokes, I guess, of the wheel, and kind of make a little poof, and then pull it to the next one and add some more of the pipe cleaners, and I will keep going around and around to accomplish this. I will tell you right now, I'm not someone who uses a lot of deco mesh, so I'm not super experienced with it. I do watch others' videos, like my friend DIY with Nadia, because I love how amazing she is at making these wreaths. So just keep in mind that I am by no means an expert on deco mesh. So I'm just going to keep going around and around. There it is, and I do think it turned out really cute. And don't worry, we will cover up those little dark pipe cleaners. I wish I had some lighter ones. Now I'm just going to start fluffing out the deco mesh to fill in the gaps. I'm going to bend those ends down so there's no pointy edges on the back. I'm going to take a piece from a mop head. I'm just going to attach it, and we're going to make our hanger with that before we go on any further. And I'm just going to tie it in by crisscrossing it underneath where I want to make the top, and then I will glue that on, and also I will trim the little edges. Now we're going to take our little gingerbread people, and we're going to position them on there. I'm going to use 6 of them for this. I did end up making 8, but I only needed 6. Now I'm going to hot glue them, and the reason I'm going to do that is because they're so light. So I will hot glue them to the deco mesh and to each other. You could put little pipe cleaners on the back and stick them through and tie them on, but I just felt like they were so lightweight. I've also got these cute little peppermint ornaments from the Dollar Tree. Now I'm going to start putting them wherever there's like an opening, and that's what's going to cover up where you see the little black pipe cleaners. This is something you could do it any way you want. If you'd use like white pipe cleaners, then you wouldn't have to do it like this, and you could just put ribbons or something else. But I kind of like the idea of the candy ornaments going with the gingerbread people. Let me know what you think. This was a first for me. I hope you like it. Got this adorable Let It Snow snowman sign from the Dollar Tree. And then I've also got some fabric, these little pom-poms, and this reindeer antler piece. They're all from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to open up the fabric, and I'm going to figure out how much of it that I actually need. Now, I am not very good at creating little cone hats, so I bought some party hats from Dollar Tree, and I thought I will use this as my form in the future for making cones. So I just opened it up, up, cut off that little excess part that was part of the design, and I labeled it my cone template. Anyway, I'm going to use that. I'm just going to trace around it, and I'm going to go on the fabric there and cut out my fabric that I need to make a cone hat. We're going to make a little gnome on the back side. Now, when I first started this, I was going to make it a two-sided sign because you know I love to do that, but it was not working. So I ended up changing plan midway, and so you will see some stuff that looks kind of funny while you're watching this, but I fixed it at the end so it's just one-sided. I just don't think it went together. It didn't work like I thought. I'm just going to press the fabric so I get rid of those folds in it. And now I'm going to hot glue it to the back side. See, remember I said I was going to try to do a two-sided sign. So I do all of this on the back side. And we're just going to cover up most of this with the fabric. Now I've got this mop head piece, and I'm just going to use that for the little gnome's beard. And there's the piece that's going to be the hat. So first we're going to glue on the beard. Now I ended up putting the whole piece on, and then I do trim it later because it's just way too long. So now we're going to figure out where the little nose is going to go with the pom-pom. We're going to put that in place. Now I'm going to take some pink paint marker. I'm just going to put a little on my finger and dab it around to make the nose pink. I'm going to hot glue the top of that piece that's the hat over the nose just to get it positioned. And then I'm going to stuff the inside of the hat with a little extra of that mop head. Now we're just going to glue down the hat so that it lays nicely on his little head. I'm making this as quick and easy as possible, so I'm not doing seams or anything like fancy like that. This is going to be a really quick and easy piece to make. Just going to continue gluing this on so that I can make the hat so I can fold it over and put a pom-pom on the end. So I'm just sort of, it's almost like a hem at this point, but I'm only doing that because when you fold it over, I don't want to see the back side of the fabric. So I didn't do that with any of the other edges, but I am going to do it with the hat just to make sure it lays very nicely. So now I'm up at the point, and this is where I'm going to kind of make sure that it looks good so that when I fold it over, you only see the pretty side of the fabric. I could have used two pieces of this cone and just done it like that. That probably would have been good, but I'll be honest, because I was thinking of a two-sided sign at this point, I did not do that. Now I'm going to attach the little pom-pom right to the end of the hat top. I've got the antlers, and I'm going to find an opening in there. I took out the stick it was on, and I'm going to put a generous amount of hot glue on both sides and put that in there. There was a little piece of the snowman that was hanging over, so I just cut that off. I scored it with a blade. And now I'm going to add some greenery and just some fun little pics right to where the pom-pom is on the hat. Thought that would make it really cute and festive. So you can see there's a bunch of stuff around the edges there. That's when I was thinking it was going to be two-sided. I was trying to make the other side look good too. Now I did put a little trim of a pretty green pipe cleaner at the edge of the top of the hat there just to kind of make it look a little more finished. Now look at the back there. Do you see what a mess that is? This is why I changed my plan. So I'm going to add a hanger on the back. And then what I'm going to do is go ahead and I'm going to start getting rid of all the extra fuzz. That stuff is very messy. I'm going to use a piece of tape, and now I'm going to trim all around the edges to make it look a little bit nicer and not so fuzzy. I mean, it was just overwhelmingly fuzzy. But you know what? That's because I changed my plan midway. He did turn out really cute. You can see I trimmed the beard, and I do like him. I think he's adorable. It was very easy, and if I hadn't tried to make it two-sided, this would look a lot better. But anyway, you get the idea. I hope you like it. For this Dollar Tree Christmas craft, I've got a little foam cone, and then I've got these sparkly Christmas trees with the garland all over them. I'm not a big fan, but I thought I would take them just so that I could use the garland on it. I thought, you know, with that really pretty bright green, that would look nice on something. So anyway, I'm just going to unravel it. See how easy they break? I don't like those plastic pieces. So now I'm going to take off the little red base as well, because we can use that too. Now I'm going to go through, there's some little snowflakes and little like red gems on there. So I'm just going to go through and pull them all off. And we'll use those for other things. I'm going to start hot gluing around the base of the cone. And we are just going to wrap the cone around and around and around, gluing here and there with this garland. And wherever there's like a gap, I will go back and kind of wrap around again just to make sure that we fill in as much as possible. And I think this is going to be so pretty for a little bright, shiny Christmas tree. So there it is, all the way up to the top. I'm going to take that red piece and I'm just going to kind of wrap it around and make a little pretty red garland out of it. And I thought that looked really nice for an accent. I took 2 of the little snowflakes that were on there and I glued them together, and that will be our little snowflake star for the top of the tree. I'm just going to use hot glue to attach that. Now I needed something to use for a base for the tree, or like the trunk of the tree. So I'm going to use this piece of metal that was on a reindeer antler pick. And I'm going to take some cork. So I'm going to put the first one in, and then I need to add a second one because I need this to actually be a little taller for what I'm going to do with it. But this worked out just great to use that. And I'm going to put a little hot glue on there and add some more of that green garland just to cover the bottom. I didn't want that white foam to show underneath. Now, once I have that on there, we're going to take this cute little Baking Spirits Bright ceramic dish from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to add that second cork, and now it's tall enough to go in there. We're going to use a combination of E6000 and hot glue to attach that inside of the little ceramic dish. And that way it'll stick right away, but it'll also have that nice long-term secure hold. So you just hold it till the hot glue dries. Now I've got some reindeer moss, and I love it because of the green color for Christmas especially, and I'm just going to fill in the bottom of that little dish. And I thought that was just a really nice way to kind of finish this one off. Look how cute and pretty that is. You could sit this on a shelf somewhere, wherever you want. I just think it turned out really adorable, and it was very easy to do. And now I found a way to use up those little Christmas trees. What do you think? Going to need 5 of these Dollar Tree crates. I'm going to tape them off because I want to paint red and white on them, and I want to make sure it doesn't bleed into the other area. So I'm just going to do the top and the bottom with the red, and then I'm going to do the white in between. What we're going to make is a cute little winter Christmas kind of a train out of these. I'm going to paint the inside white as well, and then I do the 2 sides in the red and the bottom, and I'll do that to 4 of them. Then I forgot to film this, but I just took a white marker and I made like little snow drifts kind of on the side. Now I'm going to take 2, the one I'm going to paint all red, and then draw the snow drifts, and I'm going to attach it to the top of one of the 4 that I had already painted. And there you can see I did the little snow drifts all around. This is going to be the first car where the engine is on the train. I'm going to take these pipe cleaners or chenille stems that I got at the Dollar Tree. They were green. I'm going to take 3 and I'm going to twist them to make like a 3-strand cord. I'm going to cut them into smaller pieces, and we're going to use these to attach the cars of the train. I'm going to take my 3-strand cord, if you will, and I'm going to cut it into thirds. That way I have 1 piece to attach each of the cars. I'm going to fold them in half and use a ton of hot glue. Wait till they dry, and then I'm going to cover the top with hot glue as well, just to make sure it's on there really, really solid. Not that we're going to really be playing with this. It won't have working wheels. And then I lifted up the other 3 cars so it would be the same height as the first one, and I did the same thing. So there you see. This is super easy. It's really just paint. And then I've got these cute little peppermint candies. I also got these at Dollar Tree. And I'm going to put 4 wheels on each car. I'm also going to do headlights and taillights. So here's our little train, each piece attached. Now I've got a cork that I painted red that I had left over. I had painted too many for another project. I'm going to glue that to the top with a cotton ball kind of spread apart to look like the steam from the train. I'm going to take my white paint marker and I'm just going to draw kind of like the windshield on the front there. And now I'm attaching those little candies to make the headlights. And like I mentioned, I'll also be doing the tail lights. This is so easy. It's just adorable when you're done. It would look so cute on a shelf somewhere. And you could decorate it with all kinds of cute things. I found some things around in my Christmas stash that I had. Just for fun, I put candy canes, bells, little person who's the driver, and it just turned out so cute. I've got a little Bible ornament in there. I love this one. Let me know what you think. For this Pinterest-inspired project, we're just going to take one crate, and then I've got some black construction paper. I'm going to use my white paint. You can use any white paint you want. I'm going to paint the entire thing white, inside, outside, everything. Now, once I've got that painted, I am going to take a little bit of this chalkboard black paint, and I'm just going to brush it across and dry brush. So, you know, that's where you put a little bit on your brush, wipe most of it off, and then drag it across. I just want to make it look like it's outside and been dirty. We're going to make a cute little snowman. And, you know, snow doesn't stay white very long with everybody playing with it and cars driving by. So I figured we'd go ahead and mess it up a little bit. Using the crate as my guide, I'm going to trace about 3/4 of an inch around the crate to make the bottom brim part of a snowman's hat. And then I'm also going to make a circle. I'm just using some tape to do that. And then I'm going to cut another rectangular piece that we're going to wrap around. We need to make a little snowman hat. So we've got that top piece, and then we're just going to kind of measure this around the circle so we can see how big we want it to be. Took a couple of times trimming it to get it to the size that I wanted. So there is the bottom of the hat, and I'm going to go ahead and glue that to the open side, which is the bottom of the crate. Now I'm going to bend that rectangle, and I'm going to figure out how big to make it for the circle that I cut. I'm going to glue it like so it looks like just a little round piece now. Put some hot glue on the top, and we're going to add the very top of our hat right there. We will trim away the excess. I'm going to take a black marker. I'm going to draw some eyes. And since it's already a white snowman, we don't have to fill in the white part, just the black. I'll take a bright orange marker and make the nose. This is so easy and so cute. And now I will trim the very top of the hat. This would be fun to do with grandkids and kids, I think, because it's very easy and the end result is very, very cute. Going to make sure my seam is nice. I'm going to add a beautiful black and white buffalo check ribbon to the bottom of the top part of the hat, just to give it a cute little, you know, dressing up. And then I'll cut off any excess. And now I'm just going to put hot glue all around that bottom portion, and I will just hot glue it right to the top of the brim of his hat or her hat, whichever way you want to go. I've got this beautiful star that came off of a clip from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to attach it right there. And then I'm going to take my white paint and I'm going to go around and kind of flock it and put snow where I think it would land, you know, like on the top of his hat and around the edges and so forth. Just for fun. Of course, you don't have to do this if you don't want to. We're going to add a little bit of Christmas greenery. It's got like sparkles on it and glitter. And we're just going to add that to the side of his little snowflake just for embellishment. And then I'm going to add a couple of cute little pine cones that I got at the Dollar Tree. I love those little mini pine cones. They really come in handy. I put them on so many things for Christmas crafting. And isn't he cute? I really like him. So easy to make. Wouldn't that be cute on a tiered tray? I definitely think the kiddos would have a lot of fun making this with you. Let me know what you think. For this project, I've got one of the crates, and then I'm going to use some red and black paint. And I'm just going to paint the bottom portion and the top portion in the red and the middle section in the black. We're going to make the cutest little Santa jacket crate. Oh my gosh, it's adorable. Another Pinterest inspiration. And we're just going to go around the center there. You can tape it off if you want. I decided this time to just be super careful. And actually, I did a pretty good job. I just had a little teeny bit of cleanup to do. No big deal. I did tape the sides because that was a little trickier. There was no guide there. Off camera, I did put a little bit of white paint in those lines between. I forgot to film that, but anyway, you don't have to. I just did. And then I'm going to go around and sand around the edges to give it a little more of a distressed look. I kind of like the way that looks on there. So now that that part is all done and it's ready to go, we're going to take some gold metallic paint. First, I'm going to draw a little belt buckle on it. It's just a rectangle that you just kind of draw the box on the inside. I didn't do the little clip part. I decided just to do that one little spot there. I'm just going to very carefully do a couple coats with the gold in there. And again, just take a very small art brush so that you don't like overpaint and go very slow. If you had a paint marker that was gold, I think that would be an easy way to do it too. Mine has since dried up and I have to get a new one and I just didn't realize it. Now I'm going to take a white paint marker and I'm just going to use my own printing. You could use a cutting machine or stickers, and we're just going to write "Here Comes" on the top and "Santa Claus" on the bottom. Now, obviously, this is just for fun. Occasionally, I'll get somebody who will say something like, you know, if you're a Christian, how can you do Santa Claus? Well, it's just for fun. I don't worship Santa Claus. I worship Jesus. So just to make that clear, if anyone's wondering, I don't think many people are, but just in case. And this is just a cute, fun thing. Kids love it. And of course, we still teach them the truth at some point when they're ready to understand it. On the back, I'm just going to put a bunch of ho-ho-hos all over it. I just thought that would be a super cute way to make a two-sided piece, which you know I love. And then in the center, I'm going to write "Merry Christmas" just in cursive. And that's it. Super easy. If you don't feel like you can print nicely, you could always type it out and use like carbon paper to trace on the back and then write over it. Whatever you want to do, it's just fine. I've got a cute little buffalo check bow that was from Walmart already made. I just trimmed it, put it on the right side, and I'm going to put a little mini pine cone right in the center just to dress it up a little bit. And then I need to trim that bow because I don't want it to cover any of the words that I wrote. I'm really loving how this looks. I think it came out so cute. And again, another really easy Pinterest inspired project for you. I hope you like it and will consider trying it. For this project, inspired by Pinterest, we're also going to use one crate and my antique wax. I'm going to paint the wax on the entire thing and then wipe it away like as if it were a stain. That's one of my favorite ways to use it. It just shows the wood grain. Even on these little crates, you can still see wood grain, and I think it gives it a really nice look. It's not too dark. So we'll finish the whole thing off. I did the inside as well. Now I've got these stencils from Chocateur, and they say naughty and nice, and then I've got some twine. We're also going to use that. I cut out the stencils, and I'm just going to put them right on the center of each side. Make sure they're adhered really well. I know there's those lines in there, so that we're going to, see that paint doesn't go in there, but that's okay. You can still read the words, no problem. I'm going to take some white paint. Doesn't have to be chalk paint. It can be acrylic, whatever you want. I don't use the paste. I just use the paint. And then I pull it off, and look at that. Oh my gosh, I love that part. I'm becoming a little bit addicted to these kind of silk screen stencils. They are awesome. Anyway, and there is the naughty side, and then you go wash those right away, and they come off really easy just with water. Then I'm going to take the twine and I'm going to wrap it around like 3 times because I just love that look. I think it's so cute. And once I get it wrapped around 3 times, we'll just go ahead and hot glue it and cut off the excess. I am trying to keep it in a certain spot in the middle, so I used a dab of hot glue on the bottom just to kind of secure it. And now we're on the last one. And then we will just attach that to the bottom, cut off the excess, and there we have our cute little trim with that jute. Now I've got a beautiful kind of burgundy colored flower. I'm going to add some greenery to this just to give it more of a festive Christmas look. These are like frosted evergreens. I've got some that have glitter on them, some that just have like kind of snowy look, whatever is in my stash. I haven't bought new Christmas greenery this year because I had so much left. I'm going to see how I can do using it up. And then I'm going to add some pine cones also. I want this to be a two-sided piece, so I'll make sure you can see a pine cone from each side. I think that's going to look super, super cute. And then I have these glitter branches from the Dollar Tree. So I just cut little teeny pieces. This one is silver glittered, and they come in red, gold, and silver if you can find them. And they're great for embellishment and little accents, just to give something, kind of that Christmassy, winter, festive look. So I like adding those wherever I can. I just think it makes things a little bit more interesting. And you don't have to add those kind of things unless you love them and want to. That's it for this one. Now, that was so easy and it came out cute. Again, another Pinterest-inspired craft for Christmas. I hope you like it. Dollar Tree. I've actually used this before, so that's why it's a little crinkly and cut already, but I had put it in a Christmas tree. So I'm just going to take these pieces, instead of just, wasting them, they were already cut, I'm just going to start hot gluing them around my foam wreath form that I also got at the Dollar Tree. And even though they're smaller pieces, I'll just keep gluing them, and I'll make sure that it always ends on the back side, so that way the seam is always going to be on the back. And I'll just continue doing that all the way around until I cover the entire wreath. Now I'm going to take a piece of jute, I'm just going to glue it on the back, and I'm just going to make that my hanger, and I'll add a piece of masking tape just to secure that on there. Very easy. You could do this any way that you want. This is just one of the ways I like to do it. And I need a wider hoop for a wreath because my wreath hanger on my door is wider than just like a little nail type thing. Now I've got this felt bow that was attached to something and I took it off. I'm just going to hot glue it right in the center, and then I've got pieces of evergreen pics that I had in my stash. I save all the little pieces, and I'm just going to start attaching all these different pieces of greenery that are like winter type greenery. Some of them are frosted, but they all look like they come from the trees you would see like in the winter up on the mountains, in the forest, that kind of a thing. And then I'm going to add a little bit to the top just to kind of round that out and fill in the little hole. Then I've got these sparkly branches from the Dollar Tree, and these are red. They come in red, silver, and I believe gold. And I'm going to use these just to add some fun kind of whimsy feel, and they're a little long, so I'm going to trim them off with my nippers. And this is such an easy wreath to put together. Wow, it's amazing what you can do with ribbon. I mean, think of all the different ribbons out there and how you could make this look. I'm going to keep adding those little sparkly branches until I get, the look that I want. There's no way that is just right or wrong to do this. Do it to the way you like it. If all you wanted was the greenery and the bow, that's good enough. That's fine. I just like, a little extra. I'm a little extra anyway. I'm going to take a little pine cone. It was still a little bit bigger than I wanted, and I wanted the bottom to be flat. So I pulled off some of the petals, took my nippers, and just clipped away the excess there. And I'm going to hot glue that right onto the center of the bow. It had a weird kind of a seam. I think something else was originally glued on there. And then I've got some pit berries that are gold. I'm going to wrap them around the way I do with the pumpkins, and then I'm just going to kind of put them on there just for, extra oomph. It's not like you have to do this, but I like to do this. And so I just thought it needed something a little extra there around that pine cone. You could use whatever you wanted. I just happened to choose these pit berries because I had them. Always trying to use it my stash. How about you? Anyway, there it is. I think it turned out beautiful. Let me know what you think. I've got some more ribbons from the Dollar Tree, and one actually that was given to me, so I'm not sure where it came from. And I just love having, a bunch of different ribbons to work with. What we're going to do first, we're going to make some Christmas trees. I'm going to draw lines on this piece of construction paper from the Dollar Tree, and we're just going to make 3 triangular shapes and cut them out. My goal was that they wouldn't all be exactly the same. And there they are. And now what we're going to do is roll them into like cone shapes so that we can have trees. Now, I'm finding that one of the best things to do is kind of pre-roll it a little bit, and that way it makes it easier to work with. And then you go up to the top and you kind of fold a little edge over on the one side. So you see how I'm folding that edge down just a little bit because I need a place to glue the other side to. So now I'm going to take the other side, I'm going to pull it around. I'm also going to keep rolling it just to make it more pliable. And when I get to the point where that one other side hits the one I folded over, I'll add some hot glue. And then I'll just start the process of holding that down, gluing it, and then going down the side and continuing until I get the whole thing attached. Now this one is the smaller of the three, so it kind of crunched up a little bit, but you can reshape it once it's glued together. So that's the good news. So now I'm just going to hold it, make sure it's dry, because it's easier to shape once you have it dry. And now I'm just going to kind of play with it. We're going to be covering it, so this piece doesn't have to look perfect. And then I'm going to trim the bottom until it stands up straight and makes a nice cone. So it took a couple of trims there, and then I stood it up and decided, okay, I think this is straight. I'm going to do the exact same thing to the other ones, and there they are. So see how they all turned out different. Now for this first one, I'm just going to start doing kind of like stripes, if you will. I started with like an angle, and then I'm just going to go down until it hits the end, and I'll trim it off. And then I'm going to do this several more times using this green felt ribbon. This is kind of my base on this one. You could do any pattern or design that you want. I'm going to show you 3 different ways that I've found that you can do this, but there are many, many more. So see how I've done that. I'm going to add this beautiful candy cane ribbon. I actually ended up covering the whole tree with that green. I decided that I thought that was just the perfect base for this. Now I'm going to take the candy cane ribbon, and I'm just going to put 3 of them on there. I kind of spaced them apart. Now I'm going to take the snowflake ribbon. I'm going to put a piece on either side of the candy cane ribbon. And then I'm going to take the snowflake ribbon and I'm going to go all the way around the bottom, and that kind of creates a nice base and finishes it off. So that is one look that you can do with these. And I love the way this one turned out. It's super cute. And the whole idea is that it's like a little kind of a vignette. So now we're going to move on to the second tree, and I'm going to use this gingham ribbon with the red and white, and then I've got a cute little red truck ribbon that I also got at the Dollar Tree. So what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to be going around in rows. So first I did the gingham. Now I'm going to turn around and I'm going to add a row of the little red truck one. And then I'm going to do the gingham, and I'm just going to keep doing this all the way around. And I'll just start by hot gluing the piece and then end by hot gluing the piece. And I might add a little bit of hot glue in between. So there's the second tree. So now for the third tree, we're going to make little loops. So I got a bunch of different ribbons. I've sectioned them out and I cut them into the size that I want. You fold it in half and decide how long you want your little loops to be. So I'm going to start at the bottom, and we're going to do 2 rows of the gingham. I'm just going to go all the way around. I just kind of glue the 2 little pieces, the ends together to make the loop, and then glue it right onto the tree. The reason I start at the bottom is I want each loop to hang over the flat part. So there's the first row. You see how I did that? Now I'm going to do the second row, and then I did 2 rows of the red and black buffalo check. Now I'm going to take the plaid, I'm going to do that, and then put another little row of the plaid, and then one last row of the gingham. And so now I'm just going to trim the bottom, and then I'm going to add gingham all the way around the bottom. I'll lift up the loops and just hot glue it underneath to give the tree a nice little base. And I just think it's so, so cute. And I will show you at the end what all 3 of them look like. I think they turned out adorable. And like I said, there are so many ways to do this. This is just a couple of the options. There's the first 2. I love how they turned out. And now here's the last one with the little loops. You can add toppers to these or not. I decided not to. I thought they just look cute all by themselves, and they could all sit together somewhere in your home. Let me know what you think. I've got all kinds of ribbon here, but I didn't end up using all of it, just a few of them and some twine. I just wanted to have several to choose from to figure out my color scheme. First thing, we're going to make a cute little like garland. So I just made a loop on the end of the twine, and then I figured how long I wanted it to be, cut the end, and made a loop on the other end, and that's how we'll hang this. I like to hang these above my coffee bar. I have a nice spot there for that. You can hang them wherever you want. So now I've got my starting point. I'm going to start cutting pieces of ribbon to make little bow bundles. So what you do first is figure out how big you want it to be over the little twine. So I figured, okay, that's as wide as I want it to go. And then I'm going to start cutting enough pieces. I'm going to make 10 of these ribbon bundles to hang on this garland. So I'm just going to wrap it around itself until I get to the point where I would have enough for 10. I'm going to use one piece for each of these. I learned this technique from my friend Nadia at DIY with Nadia, and I'll put her link down in the description box. She makes wreaths and does these bow bundles that I love. She folds the end and cuts the dovetail and then does the same thing on the other end, and that's how you actually cut out your pieces too. How smart. I'll take my green felt ribbon and I will do the same thing. And I'm aiming for 10 pieces each. And then I need 2 of these little red truck ribbons for each one. So I'm actually going to cut out 20. And with this one, it's so narrow to fold, it was easier just to hold them across. So now I'm going to put all my little bundles together. So we're going to start with the beautiful red ribbon. Then we're going to crisscross the red truck ribbon and then put the felt one over the top. I'm going to tie each bundle with a little piece of twine and knot it in the back. Now I'm just going to angle cut the little red truck ribbons because they're so small. Again, dovetailing them, you would hardly notice it. And I'll do each of those so there's 2 on each end. And that's how you create a little ribbon bundle with this particular garland we're making. I'm going to do that with all 10 of these. And now I'm going to take that piece of twine we started with that's going to be for the whole garland. And we are literally just going to tie around the excess piece that I tied in the center of each one. We're going to attach it to the twine for the garland. It makes more sense when you're looking at this. It's kind of hard to describe. Anyway, but I'm going to attach each one and they do slide around, so it makes it very easy to adjust them later however you want them to look. Now I'm going to add a little teeny pine cone in the center of each one. You can get these at Dollar Tree, actually any of the craft stores. I cut off the back to make it easier to glue on. So this is what the back looks like. Now we're going to trim that excess twine that was there for where we attached the little ribbon bundles. We'll do that with all 10 of them. Turn it back over, and now we can slide them around and kind of decide how close or how far apart we want each of them. And I just think this is so cute. I love making different kinds of garlands. You can do so many things, and ribbon is a great way to make a garland. Let me know what you think. Pot holders, and I picked 2 different ones on purpose. I'm just going to remove the tags. I have been wanting to do this forever. I don't know what took me so long. Anyway, I think Christmas is as good a time as any to do this. So I'm going to glue them together kind of at an angle. I'm also going to glue back the little holders that you hang them up with because we're not going to use those for this particular project. So I'm just adding the hot glue. You could also use Beacon Fabric Tack glue, whatever you want. This hot glue does hold really well. I'm also going to put some on the back just to make sure it lays flat. And that other little handle, I'm going to tack that down as well. Now I've got this gorgeous pick. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. I think I got this one at Walmart. I'm not sure. Anyway, you can find these any of the craft stores. And it's got bulbs in it, and it's got pine cones and greenery and poinsettias. But I'm going to snip it apart and just put the pieces in one by one so I can place them exactly the way I want to. And I love those baubles that they have there. They're just so pretty, and it's going to add such a nice little pop of shiny color to this. Again, use anything you have. You could choose things that are already in your stash, or you could go find something very specific like this, whatever works for you. I'm just going to tack down the back and make sure that it's holding them in there really, really well. It's a little dot of hot glue here and there, and it just kind of seals it up, which is great for this project because you don't need them to be, kind of opening in the back. I found some more berries with some interesting leaves, and I just thought I'm just going to keep adding things until it looks the way I want, which is just very individual. So this is just for inspiration. Do it however you want. Wherever I have a little broken bead where you see the styrofoam, I usually just take a red marker and color it. I'm going to use my bow maker, and I'm only going to use it just to wrap around. This is just going to be a very simple bow. So I'm going to start with this kind of red mesh ribbon from the Dollar Tree. And then I'm going to use this gold sequiny ribbon from the Dollar Tree. This is in their Christmas areas, and they were just special ribbons for Christmas time, so I picked some up recently. And then I'm going to add the green kind of mesh ribbon also. I just wanted to have all three of those colors on here. I thought that would look really nice. And all I'm doing is wrapping it around like 3 or 4 times for each one of these different ribbons. This is just a really easy way to do this. Once I have them all on there, I'm going to take a pipe cleaner, put it right in the middle, twist it real tight. And then once I take it off of the little bow maker thing, then you can start fluffing out the little pieces of the bow and arrange them so whichever colors you want show the most. You know, you can really make this look kind of any way you want depending on how you pull the different ribbons out. And there it is. And now what I'm just going to do is take that pipe cleaner that was already on there. I'm going to poke it through and then twist it around the back. I've got it attached to some of those stems. And now it's just there nice and secure. And I'll just hot glue it together and I'll make a hanger out of it too. So now I've got that piece that works as our new hanger. I'm going to add a smaller pine cone right to the center of the bow, and that was it. I love this one. It's so fun and festive, and it was really easy. Let me know what you think. I found this gorgeous blue pot holder, and I thought this would be so great for either Hanukkah or winter. And then I've got this star ornament and some other little thin stars. I've got bells, I've got some snowman ornaments, and these are all from Dollar Tree. Every single thing here is. I'm going to snip off the little hanger with my nips because we're not going to be hanging that little snowflake. But what we are going to do is we are going to glue it right on to this pot holder. And now I'm just playing around with the other snowflakes to see how I'm going to place them. I'm going to use a generous amount of hot glue. Again, you can use any kind of glue you want. This worked really well. And I'm also going to put hot glue in the center of those other kind of translucent snowflakes. I think they're so pretty. Now I'm going to add even more hot glue just to make sure that that heavier snowflake is very secure. Now I'm going to take one of these little snowmen, I'm going to put a pipe cleaner through it, and there is an area on the back of the snowflake where you could loop through, and so I'm going to do that with this pipe cleaner. I'm going to tie it on, trim off the excess, and then I'll have the little snowman kind of positioned where he's hanging from the snowflake. And I'm going to add some glue to the back of him just to make him nice and secure and have him lay the way I want. Now I'm going to take these bells, I'm just going to place them in a couple different spots. They're so big and pretty. I love those bells. They're just awesome. Anyway, I'm going to add some more, fun wintry pics that have like little sparklies, like fake snow on them. I'm just going to add them to this as well, just to give it a little bit more interest and color. But I think it's just still so wintry or Hanukkah with the blue and white. So I think this would be just beautiful. And you could use this all the way through the winter. You don't have to take it down after the holidays. And I love that about this one. It makes it extremely versatile. I'm going to continue to embellish just until it looks the way I want. You could do whatever you want, honestly. It's your craft when you're making it. This is just what I liked, and I added some greenery around that snowflake. I thought it just needed something up at the top there. And I'm just going to, trim off any little pieces and add some more wherever I think it just kind of is lacking something. If you're enjoying this video, first of all, I hope that you'll hit the like button. I really appreciate it. And I hope that you are already subscribed. And if you're not, consider doing so, because I would love to have you here and be part of this amazing group of besties. Let me know what you think of this one. I think it's awesome. And I love how quick and easy it was and how fun and festive and just so cute the way it turned out. I've got these two pot holders, the square ones from the Dollar Tree, and then I've got this little beaded handle that was on something else that I saved. I'm going to get rid of all the tags. And this is so cute because it has to do with furry friends, and I am a big fan of furry friends. So I'm going to take the little part that you hang on the pot holder, I'm just going to glue it down to the back side. Then I'm going to take on one of them and glue down the hanger that we had there. I'm going to make sure it's nice and secure. And believe me, the hot glue does really well with this. And I love this thing. We're going to make a little pillow like door hanger. So we're going to glue most of the sides together. Especially we'll start with the top to make sure that it lines up and covers up that little hanger. I've got some stuffing there that, like pillow stuffing that you can use. And we're going to use that to just go ahead and fill it in. Now that I have 3 of the sides done, we're going to stuff it and make just a little mini pillow out of it, which I think is so cute. I love these little kind of decorative things you can hang from a door. Let's say you have like a closet door or just a door that doesn't get used all the time. It just kind of adds a little color and fun to it. So we're just going to add as much stuffing as we think we need, and then we'll just seal up the rest of this. It already has a seam from the edge of the pot holder that makes it so easy to make it look finished. And isn't this so cute, especially if you love animals? I'm going to take a little bit of greenery here, and we're just going to add a little bit towards the top just to give it a little bit of interest. I love to do that. And it's just going to be so fun just to have that right there and be right where you hang it on the door. So it'll be really cute. And I'll do it almost like a swag type piece, but I did trim off some of the greenery so it didn't hang over the words. I wanted to make sure you could read it. And then, of course, because I love pine cones, I'm going to take a pine cone and put it right in the center of this. I thought that just, love that look with the pine cones. I think they're so cute. I'm going to add some glittery pics here and there at the top just to kind of add a little bit more of a festive feel, just some little pieces, nothing too big. The ones I chose right here are gold. Dollar Tree also has red and silver. If you're looking for these kind of picks, you can usually find them this time of the year. And it's a good time to stock up because you can use them for 4th of July too. And that's really fun. I think this turned out so cute. It was incredibly easy. This would be such a fun thing to make. It would be a great housewarming gift too if you wanted to bring it if you're going to someone's house for the holidays, especially if they have pets. Let me know what you think. I found these cute little pot holders at the Dollar Tree. We're going to do 2, but here's the first one. It's red, and I've got this snowman ornament that is adorable. I'm going to take off the tags. We're going to turn this pot holder into a puppet. Because of the way you put your hands in it, it just feels like a puppet already. So for this one, just to show you how easy this could be, we're going to literally just glue the little snowman ornament right on, and that becomes the face of this puppet. And his mouth is right there, and look at that. I mean, could that be any easier? That was that. You could do this with your kids or grandkids. They would love it. Oh my gosh, I love this one. I cannot believe how easy it was. Now we're going to take this blue one. We're going to cut off the tag, and we're going to take these googly eyes, and you can get these. I think sometimes Dollar Tree has them, and they definitely have them at the craft stores. And I'm going to put 2 larger googly eyes right on it. And we're going to turn him into a reindeer. We're going to take this poinsettia pick, and I'm going to cut off some leaves, petals. And I'm just going to kind of round this one out because the first one we're going to do, we're going to take that one, make a little tongue. Then we're going to take some more, and we're going to start putting them on the top. We're going to go across the top with the petals first, kind of like ears almost, but we'll put some in the center too, just to give him more of a full, top of his head. Then I'm going to take the leaves. I'm going to put them up a little higher, and they will kind of be like the antlers in this case. So it's just a kind of fun makeshift little reindeer. I'm going to add some berries to the very bottom of the leaves just for decor purposes because I think that just made him super festive and cute. I'm going to cut another red petal, cut it into a circle, and make a nose. So this is like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer as a puppet. And how fun is that? Oh my gosh. It's just so stinking cute. I love it. Anyway, we're going to add a little bit more of the leaves. Like I just cut them in half and make it a little taller. That way it definitely has kind of that, antler feel, if you will. Add a little like branch off of it. You can see what I'm doing here. Anyway, I'm just doing, like I said, kind of makeshift. And there he is. There's our little Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer puppet. How cute is this? I love it. Anyway, talk about easy, fun for the grandkids and kiddos. And it would be cute just to have them out during the Christmas season. Let me know what you think. Are you ready for more inspiration? I've got another video here I think you will really like. Click on it. I will see you there. You are truly a blessing to me. Bye.